My beloved child, draw near to me now, for I have waited for this moment. I have watched you move through days that felt heavy, nights that felt endless, and moments where your heart whispered questions you were almost too afraid to voice. And now, before anything in your life shifts, before the doors open, before the pieces fall into place, before the change you have sensed finally unfolds, I need you to hear me. It's time we talk. You have felt it, haven't you? That quiet stirring in your spirit, that sense that something is standing on the edge of your life, waiting to be revealed. You can't quite explain it to others. You're not even fully certain how to explain it to yourself. All you know is that something within you keeps saying, "Stay awake. Pay attention. Something is about to happen." And you are right. Precious one, the reason I am speaking now, so urgently, so gently, is because you are closer to a turning point than you realize. You are standing in a threshold season, and the choices you make, the clarity you receive, and the peace you embrace in this moment will shape the path that unfolds before you. That is why this message is not coming to you by accident. That is why you are here. And that is why you must listen until the very end. Do not move too quickly. Do not drift away. What I am about to unfold in your heart is something you have needed for a long time, long before you knew how to ask for it. You have been wrestling with questions in the quiet of your soul, questions about your purpose, your pain, your future, and your identity. You have wondered if you missed something, if you failed something, if you ruined something. You have wondered why it feels like life had been shifting around you faster than you can process, and why certain connections, places, or seasons suddenly stop fitting you. My child, there is a reason, and I want to reveal it to you. But first, I want you to understand this. You are not here by coincidence. You were drawn here. Your heart responded before your mind even understood why. And the reason is simple, because I have something to say to you before everything changes. I have waited for a moment when you would be still enough, open enough, weary enough, or desperate enough to finally hear me with clarity. This is that moment. Stay with me. Do not turn away. What comes next is not simply information for your mind. It is nourishment for your spirit. It is direction for the path ahead, healing for the places that ache, and confirmation for the things you sense but never knew how to articulate. You have carried far too much alone. You have walked through storms that others never saw. You have endured seasons that stretched you internally while you smiled on the outside. You have been strong, but you have also been tired. And I have seen it all. That is why this conversation matters. That is why I speak now. You are on the brink of a shift, a change that has been forming quietly, like dawn preparing behind the horizon. But if you move without understanding, if you step forward without clarity, if you act without peace, you may misinterpret what is happening around you, or even resist the very change designed to bless you. So hear me. What I am about to tell you in the moments ahead will steady you. It will open your eyes. It will soften your fears. It will lift shame from your shoulders. And it will prepare you for what is coming. There is a reason for everything you have walked through. There is purpose behind every delay, every disappointment, every closed door, every unexpected turn. And before the pages of your life turn again, I want to walk with you through the truth of what has been happening and why. Beloved, do not miss the fullness of this message. Listen until the final word, for in the unfolding of this conversation, I will reveal things you have needed, prayed for, longed for, and cried out for. Stay close. Stay open. What I share with you next will begin to shift the way you see everything, your past, your present, and the change that is standing at your door. Come, sit with me. It's time we talk before everything changes. My beloved child, as you continue to sit with me, I want to speak to you about something you have been feeling but couldn't quite describe. You have sensed little tremors inside your spirit, subtle shifts, quiet urgings, unexplainable restlessness, signs that something within you has been moving, preparing, awakening. You may have brushed these feelings aside, assuming they were nothing more than passing emotions. But they were not random. They were signals. They were the first gentle knocks of the change approaching your life. You have felt moments where your heart stirred for no clear reason, where you suddenly became aware of a longing you had ignored, or a frustration you tried to silence. You have noticed yourself becoming uncomfortable in places that once felt familiar. You've outgrown conversations you used to tolerate. You've pulled back from environments that no longer nourish your spirit. You have begun to crave peace more deeply than approval, truth more than comfort, purpose more than routine. These are not coincidences. These are divine tremors, signs that the foundation of your life is preparing to shift into alignment. My child, you have been sensing what your mind has not yet been able to interpret. You are entering a season where I am calling you higher, and because of that, the familiar can no longer feel the same. There were moments when you felt a sudden heaviness for no clear reason, a pressure on your chest, or a feeling that something was changing even though nothing visible had happened. You wondered if something was wrong with you, but nothing was wrong. You were discerning movement in the unseen. You were picking up on shifts that your spirit recognized long before your circumstances reflected them. I have been stirring you intentionally. I have been loosening your attachment to places that can no longer hold your future. I have been waking you up to desires buried beneath years of surviving. I have been preparing you for the next chapter, even when you did not realize preparation was happening. Every time you felt restless, it was not a sign of failure, it was a sign of transition. Every time you felt your spirit tugging you away from something or someone, it was my gentle hand redirecting you. And even your frustration has served a purpose. There were days when you felt irritated by things that never bothered you before. This was not you becoming sensitive. This was your spirit rejecting what no longer fits the person you are becoming. Your calling has grown. Your identity has expanded. Your vision is enlarging. And because of that, your soul can no longer be comfortable in small spaces. You have also felt moments of sudden clarity, fleeting but powerful. A thought that felt like truth. A moment of realization that came out of nowhere. These were whispers from me, planting glimpses of what is coming. You caught these moments like flashes of light in a dark room. They made you hopeful, even if you did not fully understand them. They were not illusions. They were promises. My child, you have been waking up internally, even in seasons when your external world seemed frozen. You have been shifting spiritually long before anything shifts physically. This is how change begins, with tremors, with gentle inner movements, with subtle signs that something new is drawing near. And I know there were times when you questioned it all. You wondered why you couldn't settle, why certain patterns felt wrong, why relationships felt distant, why people you once understood suddenly felt confusing. You wondered why your emotions became louder, why your dreams resurfaced, why your heart began longing for something more. All of these were indicators that your spirit was stepping out of the old, even while your life still appeared to be in the old. You were not imagining it. You were not overthinking. You were sensing me. I have been calling you, preparing you, shifting you gradually so that when the true change arrives, you will not break under its weight. You will be ready. You will understand. You will recognize my hand. I am not thrusting you into transformation. I am guiding you lovingly into it. What you feel inside is not instability. It is transition. It is the sound of doors unlocking. It is the movement of destiny approaching. It is your spirit aligning with what I ordained for you long ago. So stay with me. Continue listening. There is much you have not yet seen, and much that I desire to reveal to you. You are not wrong for feeling the tremors. You are being prepared for a shift that will make sense of every restlessness, every stirring, every silent ache you have carried. And as you keep listening, I will show you why your heart has been moving before your life does. My beloved child, as you continue to walk with me through this moment, I need you to lean in even closer now. There is something important I am preparing to reveal to you, something that will shift the way you see your past, your present, and the changes that are beginning to take shape around you. Stay close to me, for what I am about to share will open your eyes in ways you may not expect. You have felt the tremors in your spirit, the quiet stirrings that signaled something was moving beneath the surface of your life. But what you sensed was only the beginning. There is more, much more, that you have not yet understood. And before the next chapter of your life unfolds, before the shifts become visible, before the change arrives in full force, I want to prepare your heart with clarity. This is why you must not turn away. This is why you must listen until the very end. My child, you have reached a point where your spirit is more aware than your mind. You have felt things rising within you that you couldn't explain. Moments of sudden pressure, moments of unexpected hope, moments where something in you whispered, something is coming. You didn't know how to describe it, but you knew it was real. Now hear me. You are not imagining it. You are not overthinking. You are not losing your way. You are awakening. And awakening always precedes transformation. You have been sensing the edges of a revelation that I am about to place in your heart. But revelation requires attention. It requires stillness. It requires that you stay present long enough for me to finish what I am saying. That is why this moment matters so deeply. What I share with you in this message is not meant to inspire you for a moment. It is meant to equip you for a lifetime. Do not drift away. Do not pause and come back later. Let my words rest fully in your spirit. For you are standing on sacred ground, and this conversation is a divine appointment. There are things you have misunderstood about your journey. There are struggles you labeled as failures. There are delays you blamed yourself for. There are closed doors you thought were punishments instead of protection. There are relationships you mourned without realizing they were never meant to walk into your future with you. And there were seasons when you thought I was silent, when I was actually working deeper than words could reach. I am about to make these things clear. I am about to show you what was really happening beneath the surface of your life. I know how deeply you have longed for understanding. I know how many times you asked, why did this have to happen? Why did they leave? Why did this fall apart? Why hasn't my breakthrough arrived? Stay with me, child. What comes next will answer questions you have carried for years. Do not let anything distract you. Do not let your mind wander. Do not let your heart grow impatient. The clarity you need is unfolding, even now, as you listen. And if you remain with me through every word, you will feel something begin to unlock inside you. Peace will settle into places where confusion lived. Strength will rise where doubt once stood. Light will touch parts of your heart that felt forgotten. And because this message is important for your healing, your direction, and your future, I want you to ensure it reaches as many souls as possible. If these words have already touched something deep within you, bless this message with a like so it can be lifted before more hearts. Share it with those who might be standing in their own silent battles, longing for the same comfort you are receiving now. And if you desire more messages like this, messages that steady you, ground you, and remind you of my love, make sure you subscribe and stay connected. But above all, stay with me right now. Do not stop. Do not step away. You are not even halfway to what I want to reveal. A deeper truth is waiting just ahead, and I do not want you to miss it. There is a breakthrough in the understanding that is coming next, and it carries the power to change the way you see everything. My beloved child, hold on to my words. Prepare your heart. The revelation you have prayed for, wept for, and waited for is drawing near. Listen closely, for the next things I will show you will illuminate the shadows of your past and set your spirit free in ways you have not yet imagined. My beloved child, before everything changes, I am inviting you into something holy. As I speak to hearts through this message, rivers of light are reaching souls who are weary, lost, and quietly crying out for me. I tell you now, as my word declares, give, and it shall be given unto you. For this is me opening heaven through your obedience. I am asking you, yes, you, to help me carry this voice further. When you sow through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description and QR code on this video, you place oil in the lamp that keeps this message burning. This is not charity, this is seed meeting soil before the shift. I bless every hand that gives, and I promise your obedience will return to you as peace, provision, and clarity. Act now, release your seed, and help me reach the next soul waiting for this word. My beloved child, now that you have drawn close and opened your heart, I want to speak to you about something you have carried for far too long. You have walked through life with a weight that few have seen, a heaviness you learned to hide, a burden that settled deeply into your spirit. You carried it quietly, without complaint, without recognition, and often without comfort. And today I want to gently bring that weight into the light, not to shame you, but to free you. There are pieces of your story that you've tucked away because they felt too heavy to revisit. There are disappointments you swallowed so deeply that even you stop acknowledging them. There are wounds you learned to function around, pain you learned to disguise with laughter, strength you pretended to possess even on days when you felt like collapsing inside. You carried these things alone, thinking no one saw, thinking no one would understand. But I saw. I understood. And every silent battle you fought mattered to me more than you know. There were moments when you cried quietly so others would not hear. Moments when you held your breath to keep from falling apart. Moments when you told yourself you were fine because you believed no one had space for your pain. You became skilled at holding everything together, at being strong for everyone else, at keeping your emotions tucked neatly beneath the surface. And yet, my child, the weight grew heavier. You carried responsibilities you did not ask for. You held on to expectations that were placed upon you before you were old enough to understand them. You walked through seasons where you had to be the one who stayed calm, the one who held the family together, the one who kept smiling so others wouldn't break. And in doing so, you silenced your own needs, your own hurt, your own exhaustion. You carried heartbreaks that you told no one about. You endured losses you never fully grieved. You forgave people who never apologized. You kept loving people who gave you very little in return. You convinced yourself that what you felt didn't matter, that your emotions were too heavy to place before anyone else. But hear me clearly, your feelings have always mattered to me. Your hidden tears have always reached my heart. Every moment you felt alone, you were never alone. Every time you thought no one noticed the strength it took to get through the day, I noticed. Every time you woke up determined to push through despite the ache inside, I applauded your courage. But I did not create you to carry everything alone. I did not design your heart to hold the entire world while neglecting your own soul. The weight you've carried in silence was never meant to become part of your identity. It was never meant to shape your worth, and it was never meant to accompany you into the next chapter of your life. That is why I am speaking to you now. Before everything changes, before the shift arrives fully, I want to lift this burden from you. I want you to understand that the heaviness you have carried is not a reflection of failure. It is a reflection of how deeply you have loved, how hard you have tried, and how much you have endured. But you do not have to keep carrying it. Not anymore. There are memories that still sit heavily in your chest, moments that shaped you more deeply than you admitted. There were times when you felt abandoned, misunderstood, or unseen. There were days when you woke up feeling like the world expected more from you than you had to give. The weight you carried was not simply emotional. It became spiritual, pressing against your peace, your clarity, and your hope. I want to free you from that. Let me speak gently to the part of you that still feels broken, to the part that is tired from holding everything together, to the part that wonders if you're allowed to rest, to release, to let go. Beloved, you are allowed. You are invited. You are safe with me. What you carried in silence, I have seen. What you endured alone, I walked with you. The times you felt too ashamed to speak about your struggles, I understood them completely. And every weight that settled onto your shoulders, whether placed there by others, by circumstances, or by your own expectations, I am ready to remove it. You do not have to keep pretending to be strong. True strength is not the absence of weakness. It is the willingness to bring that weakness to me. Allow me to lift what you cannot. Allow me to touch the places that ache. Allow me to bring peace where heaviness once lived. For the next chapter of your life cannot be built on burdens from your past. The shift that is coming requires room. Room in your heart, room in your spirit, room in your mind. And so, my precious child, before everything changes, let me first change this. Let me free you from the weight you've carried in silence. You have held it long enough. Now, let it rest in my hands. My beloved child, now that you have allowed me to touch the weight you carried in silence, I want to speak to you about something deeply important, the timing of this moment. You may wonder why I am speaking to you now, why this message found you today, why these words are meeting your heart at this precise point in your life. You may think it is coincidence, or chance, or simple curiosity that brought you here, but it is none of those things. I chose this moment intentionally, delicately, purposefully, because your spirit is ready in a way it has never been before. There are moments in your life when you were too overwhelmed to hear me. Times when you were too busy, too distracted, or too burdened to receive what I wanted to say. There were seasons when your heart was not ready to hold truth, when your wounds were too fresh, when the noise around you was too loud. There were days when you could only focus on surviving, not hearing. And during those times, I waited, not because I was distant, but because I knew that revelation given too soon becomes confusion, not clarity. You see, my child, I speak with intention. I move with purpose. I choose moments the same way I shape the stars, carefully, with precision. And this moment, the one you are in right now, is a divine appointment. It aligns with everything you have lived, everything you have outgrown, and everything you are stepping into. I chose this moment because your heart has softened. You have been through experiences that have opened you in ways you never expected. Pain has made you more receptive. Loneliness has made you more aware. Transitions have made you more reflective. And the tremors you felt in your spirit have made you pay attention. You are no longer running, hiding, or numbing. You are listening. And you are ready. I chose this moment because something inside you has shifted. A part of you that used to cling to the past has loosened its grip. A part of you that lived in fear has begun to lean toward courage. A part of you that once accepted crumbs has begun to recognize your worth. You may not see it clearly yet, but I do. The inner transformation has already begun. Your spirit is awakening to who you truly are, and to who you are becoming. I chose this moment because the season you are entering requires understanding. The change that is approaching your life is not small. It carries weight, purpose, and direction. And before that change arrives, before the shifts become visible, you need clarity so that you do not misinterpret what I am doing. I want you to recognize my hand when the transition unfolds. I want you to feel steady instead of confused, hopeful instead of anxious, supported instead of alone. I also chose this moment because you have been asking questions you didn't speak aloud but felt deeply. Why does my soul feel restless? Why do certain things no longer satisfy me? Why am I losing interest in what once felt comfortable? Why do I feel something coming, yet I don't know what it is? These questions were not random. They were signs of readiness. They were the cracks in the walls you built, allowing light to enter again. I chose this moment because you are stronger now. The battles you walked through, the losses you survived, the disappointments you endured, all of them shaped you. You learned resilience. You learned patience. You learned compassion. You learned to hear the whispers beneath the noise. Had I spoken these truths to you earlier, they would not have settled the way they will now. You needed to grow into this version of yourself so you could receive what I am saying fully. But hear me, I did not wait because you were unworthy. I waited because your heart needed time to heal. I waited because you deserved clarity, not confusion. I waited because revelation should feel like peace, not pressure. And now, my child, the timing is perfect. This moment, right here, right now, is aligned with your destiny. You did not stumble into this message, you were guided. You did not hear my words by chance, you were drawn. There is something in your spirit that has been calling out for direction, and I have come to answer that call. I chose this moment because the next part of your journey requires your full attention. You are closer to turning a corner than you realize. You are on the edge of healing you once thought impossible. You are standing at the threshold of a transformation that has been unfolding quietly for years. And before everything changes, I wanted to speak to you personally, lovingly, clearly. You are ready, my precious child. Ready to release what no longer serves you. Ready to understand what once confused you. Ready to embrace what is coming. Ready to rise into the life I have prepared for you. That is why I chose this moment. Because the time is now. Because your heart is open. Because change is near. Because you are no longer the person you once were. And because I love you too much to let you walk into your new season without knowing that I am walking with you. My beloved child, now that we have spoken about why this moment was chosen for you, I want to touch a truth that lies even deeper within your story. You have been fighting battles, many of them unseen, unspoken, and unacknowledged. You have walked through struggles that others would not understand even if you tried to explain them. And today I want you to hear me clearly. Nothing you battled was small, and none of it was unnoticed. You have faced storms that did not leave visible scars, yet they left marks on your spirit. You have endured pressures that others never saw, pressures that weighed on your mind, pressed against your heart, and stretched your emotions thin. There were days when you woke up already exhausted, not because of physical strain, but because of the silent wars waged within your soul. And yet, you kept going. You kept showing up. You kept holding on. My child, the courage you display in the battles no one sees is some of the greatest courage you will ever show. There were moments when you were smiling on the outside while fighting doubt on the inside. Times when you were encouraging others while feeling empty yourself. You offered support, love, and strength even on days when you struggled to find those things within. You were wrestling with questions that lingered in the back of your mind, questions about identity, purpose, belonging, and direction. You wondered if you were enough. You wondered if you were doing things right. You wondered if you were falling behind while everyone else moved forward. These inner battles were not signs of weakness. They were signs of growth. Signs that you were being stretched into someone stronger, wiser, more aware, and more resilient. And though the battles were often invisible to others, they were always visible to me. I watched you fight thoughts that tried to break your spirit. Thoughts that whispered you were not worthy, not capable, not loved. I saw you rise above discouragement that attempted to settle into your mind. I saw you resist temptations to give up, even when giving up felt like the easiest path. I saw how hard it was for you to keep believing, keep hoping, keep trusting when results did not match your prayers. These internal battles were not just emotional, they were spiritual. There were forces that tried to pull you backward, to keep you bound to the past, to overwhelm you with fear, to distract you from your purpose, to drain your joy, and to silence your voice. And every time you chose faith over fear, even quietly, even trembling, you were fighting in ways you didn't realize. You may not have seen the resistance coming against you, but you felt it. You felt it in your anxiety. You felt it in your restlessness. You felt it when thoughts came at you relentlessly, when you questioned everything about yourself, when you replayed past mistakes, when you worried about the future, when you couldn't understand why peace felt so fragile. My child, you were in a battle for your mind, your heart, your identity, and your destiny. And yet you survived it. You survived nights when your thoughts were loud. You survived days when your emotions were overwhelming. You survived moments when giving up seemed easier than continuing. You survived seasons that were meant to break you. And with every survival, you became stronger, even when you didn't notice the strength rising within you. You may think you lost ground in certain areas, but hear me, you gained far more than you can see. The very battles that drained you also refined you. They taught you discernment. They taught you boundaries. They taught you which voices to listen to and which to ignore. They taught you to lean on me in ways you never had before. They stripped away illusions and revealed truth. They prepared you for the future you are stepping into. And now, my beloved child, I want you to know this: the battles you faced were not in vain. Every unseen fight prepared you for the change that is coming. You have been strengthened internally for what is about to happen externally. You needed that resilience. You needed that clarity. You needed that depth. Without those battles, you would not be ready for the blessings, opportunities, and shifts that are drawing near. But there is one more truth I want you to hold deeply. You never fought alone. Not once. Even when you felt abandoned, I was by your side. When you felt weak, I was your strength. When you felt overwhelmed, I held your heart steady. When you did not know what to pray, your tears became prayers that reached me. When you didn't understand why the battles were happening, I understood the purpose behind every moment. You have fought fiercely, my child. You have fought bravely, and because of that, you are more prepared for the next chapter than you realize. The season ahead will not require the same battles you faced before. The shift that is coming carries breakthrough, clarity, and new strength. But before you step into that newness, I wanted you to see just how far you have come. You survived the unseen battles, and everything is about to change because of it. My beloved child, now that we have uncovered the unseen battles you've been fighting, I want to take you deeper into something that has weighed heavily on your heart for years. The delays, the detours, and the moments when life did not unfold the way you hoped it would. You have experienced seasons that felt slow, stagnant, or painfully out of sync with your expectations. You have walked through moments when opportunities slipped away, plans fell apart, and dreams you once held close seemed to fade into the distance. Today, I want to reveal the truth behind those moments, not to rekindle frustration, but to restore understanding. There have been times when you looked at your life and whispered, "Why is this taking so long? Why am I not further along? Why do others seem to move ahead while I remain stuck in the same place?" You questioned your worth, your decisions, your path, and even my presence. You wondered if you were doing something wrong or if you had missed something important. But hear me gently. The delay was not punishment, and the detour was not failure. Both were protection. I did not withhold blessings from you. I withheld timing that would have harmed you. You see, my child, timing is not just about readiness. It is about alignment. There were things you desperately wanted, but the environment around you was not prepared for them. The people connected to those dreams were not in the right place. The version of you at that time did not yet have the strength, clarity, or boundaries necessary to hold what you were asking for. And so I delayed, not to deny you, but to develop you. You asked for stable relationships when your heart was still healing from old wounds. You asked for opportunities when the foundation beneath you was still fragile. You asked for breakthroughs when you were not yet anchored enough to remain grounded once they arrived. And because I love you, I did not give you things prematurely. A blessing given too soon becomes a burden. And what you thought was delay was actually my love in disguise. There were doors you prayed would open, but if they had, you would have entered spaces not meant for your spirit. There were people you wished would stay, but if they had, they would have pulled you backward instead of walking with you forward. There were seasons you wanted to progress faster than they did, but if I had accelerated them, they would have crushed you rather than carried you. I know how deeply detours frustrated you. You had plans, you had timelines, you had expectations. You mapped out paths you believed were right for your life. When things shifted unexpectedly, when your route changed, when everything fell apart, you felt lost. You felt abandoned. You felt confused. But those detours were not random. They were redirections. They moved you away from things that were never meant to define you. They positioned you for places you would not have discovered on your own. There were moments when you were so close to achieving something you wanted, only to watch it slip away. You blamed yourself. You questioned your worth. You wondered if you were cursed or overlooked. My child, you were neither. What slipped away was simply not yours. What left your hands was never meant to remain in them. What ended was meant to end so that you could enter something greater. Detours are not signs of being lost. They are signs of being led. And yes, you walked through seasons where nothing seemed to move, seasons where you waited and waited with no visible progress. You assumed nothing was happening. But beneath the surface, everything was happening. You were changing. Your spirit was maturing. Your discernment was sharpening. Your inner world was being restructured. I was aligning relationships, preparing opportunities, opening places, and shifting circumstances long before the first signs appeared in your life. Delay is often the space where transformation happens. Had I given you what you wanted too early, it would not have lasted. Had I allowed you to move too quickly, you would have connected to the wrong people, entered the wrong environments, or settled for less than what you are destined for. I needed to protect the future you could not yet see. The delays were my shield around your destiny. I know how painful waiting can be. I know how exhausting it feels when nothing seems to change. But your waiting was never wasted. Every delayed season was carefully preparing you, stabilizing you, strengthening you, and equipping you. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be for the life that is unfolding. And now, my beloved child, the very delays and detours you resented will soon reveal their purpose. The path that confused you will lead to clarity. What once felt like stagnation will become the reason you are able to handle the shift that is coming. The timing you questioned will prove to be perfect. Nothing was random. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was lost. Your delays were divine alignment. Your detours were divine redirection. And your future is closer than you think. My beloved child, now that you understand the truth behind the delays and the detours, I want to speak to a tender place in your heart. Those seasons of waiting when you felt completely alone. You have endured long stretches of time where nothing seemed to move, where your prayers felt unanswered, where your strength was quietly fading, and where hope felt like something you had to renegotiate every single day. In those moments, you believed you were walking through the silence by yourself. But hear me now, you were never waiting alone. There were nights when you laid awake, staring into the darkness, wondering if anything would ever change. You asked questions that hurt to ask. You whispered prayers into the void, unsure if they were heard. The silence was heavy. The stillness felt endless. And in your vulnerability, you assumed my absence. You thought that because you could not feel me, I was distant. Because you could not see movement, nothing was happening. But you must understand, my child, that my presence is not limited by your senses, and my work is not always visible to your eyes. I was with you in every quiet moment. I was near in every tear you shed. I was present in every sigh that escaped your weary heart. I was not only watching, you must know this, I was sustaining you. Even when you didn't feel uplifted, I was lifting you. Even when you did feel comforted, I was holding you. Even when you thought you were standing on your last ounce of strength, I was the one keeping you standing. Waiting can feel lonely because it stretches the heart. It brings you face to face with uncertainty. It exposes your vulnerabilities. It slows you down enough to reveal what you've tried to outrun. That loneliness was not a punishment. It was a mirror. It showed you where healing was needed, where trust was fragile, where old wounds still pulsed, and where your heart longed for connection. But even in that loneliness, I was shaping something within you, something only waiting can birth. Waiting refined your patience. It deepened your understanding. It strengthened your resilience. It taught you to listen to your soul instead of your surroundings. It rooted you in ways that busyness never could. And though you did not see me in the waiting, I was shaping every part of your spirit. You have to understand, my silence is never abandonment. It is strategy. It is construction. It is alignment. During those seasons when you felt forgotten, I was working behind the scenes in ways you could not yet grasp. I was preparing opportunities that needed time to form. I was shifting people's hearts, positioning relationships, opening pathways, healing pieces of you that needed restoration before you could step into the next season. I was fighting battles you did not know existed, battles that would have overwhelmed you if you had faced them yourself. You thought you were waiting for nothing, but you were actually waiting for everything. And yet, because you could not see the full picture, you often questioned your worth. You wondered if you were enough. You wondered if something about you was unworthy of blessings, breakthroughs, or answered prayers. My dear one, your worth has never been up for debate. The waiting was not a measurement of your value, but of the magnitude of what was being prepared for you. You were never waiting alone. Even when people drifted away, I stayed. Even when support faded, I remained. Even when you felt like no one understood the depth of what you were carrying, I understood it perfectly. Not once did you walk through waiting without my hand guiding you. When you felt unseen, I saw you. When you felt unheard, I heard every whisper. When you felt forgotten, I was thinking of you constantly. When you felt stuck, I was positioning you. When you felt unloved, I was surrounding you with more love than you knew how to receive. You must know this truth before everything changes. I was never absent. I was never distant. I was never indifferent. My presence covered you even in the moments where you felt the most alone. And now, as your life prepares to shift, as new doors begin to open, as clarity starts to break through the fog, I want you to carry this with you. The same presence that sustained you in waiting will guide you into what comes next. You will not navigate the next chapter alone any more than you navigated the last one alone. You have never been abandoned. You have always been accompanied. And as the change before you unfolds, you will begin to see just how closely I have walked with you, not only in the breakthroughs, but in the waiting that led you to them. My beloved child, now that you understand you were never waiting alone, I want to open your eyes to something even more profound, something you may not have recognized, but something that has been unfolding quietly, consistently, and intentionally throughout your life. While you were waiting, while you were questioning, while you were wondering if anything at all was happening, I was preparing the path ahead of you in ways you could not yet see. You see, my child, preparation rarely looks like progress. It often looks like stillness. It looks like routine. It looks like seasons where nothing seems to change. But beneath that stillness, beneath the monotony, beneath the seemingly uneventful days, there was movement. Delicate, divine movement shaping your future. There were days when you felt unseen. Days when you felt forgotten. Days when you questioned whether your efforts mattered or your prayers were heard. But during those very moments, I was aligning situations, opening unseen doors, orchestrating connections, healing parts of your heart, and strengthening pieces of your spirit that would be essential for the season you are stepping into. You were not stuck, you were being shaped. Think back, my child, to the people you lost along the way. You wondered why the relationships you valued slipped from your hands, why certain connections faded, why certain people you thought would stay suddenly disappeared from your story. It was painful, yes. Confusing, yes. But it was preparation. I removed what could not support where you are going. I released what could not walk with you into your purpose. I ended conversations that were draining your spirit, even when your heart didn't understand yet. And what about the opportunities you thought slipped away? The jobs you didn't receive? The chances you didn't get? The breakthroughs that seemed so close but changed direction at the last moment? You blamed yourself. You thought you weren't good enough, fast enough, capable enough. But what felt like loss was actually protection. Those closed doors were preparations, redirections steering you toward places where you would be valued, supported, and fully aligned with what I designed for you. There were moments when circumstances shifted suddenly and you were forced to change direction. You didn't know why. You didn't know what was coming. You only felt the disorientation. But hear me now. I was clearing the path. I was removing obstacles you didn't know were ahead. I was preventing harm you were unaware of. I was leading you around battles that were never yours to fight. Even the battles you did walk through, the heartbreaks, the disappointments, the setbacks, were preparing something deep within you. They were teaching you resilience. They were shaping your discernment. They were developing compassion in your heart. They were strengthening your spirit. Everything you survived gave you qualities you will need in the next season of your life. Nothing was wasted. Not a single tear. Not a single setback. Not a single delay. There were also days when you felt pulled away from old environments. You didn't fit the way you used to. You didn't connect with the same people. You didn't enjoy the same routines. Something inside you was shifting, making you feel out of place. You wondered why. You wondered if something was wrong with you. But nothing was wrong. Everything was changing. I was preparing you for new territory by making the old places uncomfortable. Growth always begins with deception. And what about the voice inside you? The small whisper, the quiet nudge, the gentle guidance that kept urging you to dream again, to hope again, to move differently, to think differently. That was me preparing your inner world for the outer change that is approaching. I have been speaking to you in ways you didn't always recognize, through intuition, through restlessness, through sudden clarity, through unexpected peace. My child, you were not unprepared. You were being prepared. Every moment of waiting softened your heart. Every moment of disappointment sharpened your vision. Every moment of loneliness deepened your connection to me. Every moment of uncertainty put you toward trust. And now, as everything prepares to shift in your life, you will begin to see how each piece fits together, how every season, every trial, and every delay was guiding you toward alignment. Before blessings arrive, preparation must take place. Before doors open, foundations must be strengthened. Before transformation comes, the soul must be made ready. And you, my precious one, have been prepared in ways you still do not fully realize. But you will. Soon. As the change that has been forming in the background begins to reveal itself, you will look back and understand that nothing was random, nothing was wasted, and nothing was overlooked. Your entire journey has been leading to the moment that is drawing nearer every day. You were not simply waiting. You were being prepared for everything that is coming next. My beloved child, now that you see how thoroughly you have been prepared, I need you to lean in once more. Listen closely. Do not let your mind wander. Do not allow distractions to pull you away. What I am about to reveal carries weight, and your heart must be fully open to receive it. You may not realize it yet, but your breakthrough has already begun. Yes, even now, even in moments where you still feel uncertain, even in the spaces where nothing seems to have visibly shifted, the breakthrough you've long prayed for is already unfolding. It did not begin when the door opens. It began the moment your spirit started to awaken. It began when your heart felt that quiet stirring. It began when you sensed the tremors. It began when you grew restless in the places you once tolerated. It began when you started letting go of what could not grow with you. My child, breakthrough does not always announce itself loudly at first. It begins internally, silently, subtly, almost unnoticeably. It begins with the loosening of old patterns. It begins with the quiet healing of wounds you thought would last forever. It begins with the gentle shifting of your desires, your values, and your vision. You are not waiting for breakthrough. Breakthrough is waiting for you to recognize its presence. You may still see challenges. You may still feel tension. You may still be wrestling with thoughts that try to convince you nothing is happening. But the presence of pressure is often the final sign that change is approaching. The discomfort you feel is not a sign of stagnation. It is a sign that something deep within you is preparing to emerge. Before a seed breaks through the soil, the pressure is greatest. Before dawn rises, the darkness is deepest. Before transformation becomes visible, the unseen work intensifies. This is where you are right now, on the edge of something new, something sacred, something divinely orchestrated. And I need you to remain with me, to listen until the last word of this message, because the clarity you need for the next chapter is unfolding moment by moment. Do not step away. Do not pause this moment. Your spirit is receiving what you have been longing to understand. You may not see the full picture yet, but look closely. Your heart is not the same. Your mind is not the same. Your desires are not the same. Your priorities have shifted. Your spirit has awakened. This is evidence that breakthrough is already in motion. You have been shedding the old version of yourself. You have been releasing what once weighed heavily on your soul. You have been stepping out of patterns that kept you small. You have been healing in places that once felt unreachable. These inner movements are not small. They are the foundation of a life-changing shift. And hear me clearly. I am not preparing you for disappointment. I am preparing you for fulfillment. I am preparing you for answers. I am preparing you for alignment. I am preparing you for opportunities that match who you are becoming, not who you used to be. Breakthrough is not only a moment, it is a process. It is unfolding. It is a rising. It is a becoming. And you, my beloved child, have already stepped into it. But I want to tell you something just as important. Do not pull back now. Do not allow doubt to steal what is forming. Do not let fear convince you that you are still stuck. You are not where you used to be. And you are not going backward. The very fact that you are hearing this message, at this moment, in this season, is proof that the shift has begun. Stay with me through this entire journey. Do not miss the revelations that are still coming. What I need to reveal next will bring confirmation, healing, and direction. You will understand parts of your life that never made sense before. You will see why things unfolded the way they did. You will see where I am leading you. And if these words have stirred something inside you, if they have brought comfort or clarity, bless this message with a like so more of my children can find the encouragement they desperately need. Share it with someone who may be standing in their own quiet battle. And if you desire to continue receiving messages that strengthen your spirit the way this one is strengthening you, subscribe and stay connected. But above all, remain right here with me. Your breakthrough is not something you are waiting to reach. It is already weaving itself into your story. The next moments in this message will open your eyes even more, and I do not want you to miss what comes next. Listen closely, my precious one. The shift has already started, and it is leading you into the life you were always meant to walk in. My precious one, you have heard me say your breakthrough has already begun, and this is part of it. As manna fell in the wilderness, so this message is feeding spirits who would not survive another night without hope. I say to you, those who sow generously will reap generously, for this is my living promise speaking over you now. I am inviting you to partner with me in this sacred moment. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, found in the description and QR code, you help this word cross boundaries it could not cross alone. This is a prophetic response, not a pause for later. I bless your seed, and I declare it will come back pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing. Do it now. Obey the stirring and release what I've placed in your hand. My beloved child, now that you understand your breakthrough has already begun, I want to gently touch one of the most painful places in your journey, the seasons when you looked around and truly believed nothing was working. The moments when you felt stuck, motionless, forgotten, and overlooked. The days when you whispered to yourself, "What's the point? Why try? Why hope? Why pray?" Those moments weigh heavily on the human heart, and I saw every one of them. There were seasons when you poured out effort, time, and energy, and yet the results were nowhere to be found. You showed up. You tried. You gave your best. And still, nothing seemed to move. You felt like your life was stagnant while everyone else around you was advancing, achieving, celebrating, progressing. You questioned whether something was wrong with you. You questioned whether your path was blocked. You questioned whether I was listening at all. And yet, my child, what you saw as nothing was never nothing. When you thought nothing was working, everything was working, just beneath the surface, beyond your awareness, outside your line of sight. You could not see the roots growing. You could not see the foundations forming. You could not see the alignment happening in places you had no access to. You could not see the hearts I was preparing, the doors I was shaping, the opportunities I was influencing. You only saw the stillness. But stillness does not mean stagnation. Stillness often means strategy. Think of a seed buried beneath the soil. From the outside, it looks inactive. It looks motionless. It looks like nothing is happening. But beneath the soil, where no eye can see, roots are forming, structures are strengthening, life is preparing to break forth. What looks like inactivity is actually the most essential stage of growth. Without that underground preparation, the seed could not survive the outside world. This is what was happening in your life when you thought nothing was working. You saw closed doors, but those doors were closing because they were leading you in the wrong direction. You saw relationships fall apart, but those connections could not support your destiny. You saw delay, but I was redirecting you toward better alignment. You saw silence, but I was speaking to your spirit in ways that required stillness. You saw loss, but I was pruning the unnecessary to make room for what was coming. My beloved child, you misunderstood what was happening because you could only see the surface. But I never work only on the surface. I build deeply. I prepare intentionally. And I align perfectly. Do you remember the days when you felt emotionally drained but didn't understand why? Those were days when your spirit was shifting out of old patterns, old cycles, and old identities. It was internal work. Breakthrough always begins inside before it manifests outside. Do you remember the moments when people left your life unexpectedly? They hurt, yes. It felt abrupt, unfair, painful. But their exit created the space needed for the right people to enter. That was preparation. You were being positioned for alignment you could not yet see. Do you remember the times when an opportunity fell through at the last moment? You saw it as rejection. But I saw the weight of what you were being protected from. That was mercy. I will never allow you to step into something that isn't equipped to hold you. Even in your darkest moments, when you said to yourself, "Nothing is working," I was doing more for you than you could comprehend. What looked like a delay was actually me building the stability you would need once the breakthrough arrived. You are not stepping into an ordinary shift. You are stepping into a deeply aligned, divinely orchestrated transformation. For that, your spirit, your heart, and your foundation needed strengthening. You see, child of my heart, You interpreted the lack of visible movement as an activity. But visibility has never been the measure of my hand. When you saw nothing, I was constructing everything. And now, the things that once seemed disconnected will begin to connect. The things that felt meaningless will begin to make sense. The moments that broke you will reveal what they built in you. You will look back on the nothing is working seasons and realize that those were the seasons when everything quietly shifted into place. I want to assure you, nothing you went through was wasted. Not a single experience. Not a single tear. Not a single disappointment. Everything contributed to your preparation. Everything molded you. Everything strengthened you. And everything positioned you for what is coming next. What felt like stagnation was foundational. What felt like emptiness was planting. What felt like silence was strategy. What felt like delay was divine timing. And now, as you continue on this journey with me, you will begin to see the fruit of every unseen effort. You will begin to feel the forward motion you've longed for. You will realize that while you thought nothing was working, I was working all things together for your good. You are closer than you know. Closer than you feel. Closer than you can yet imagine. And soon, you will see what was forming in the silence all along. My beloved child, now that you understand how much was happening even when you believed nothing was working, I want to gently take you by the hand and lead you into one of the most tender and transformative parts of your journey. It is something you've avoided, something you've pushed aside, something you've told yourself you would deal with another day. But that day never felt like it came. This is the healing you've been afraid to start. There are wounds within you that you learn to live around instead of living through. You built routines, identities, and even relationships over unhealed places. You smiled through what hurt. You kept moving through what broke you. You convinced yourself that pushing forward was the same thing as healing. But time alone does not heal all wounds. Silence does not heal all wounds. Ignoring pain does not dissolve pain. Some of the heaviness you still feel is not because you are weak, but because you never allowed yourself to acknowledge the depth of your hurt. You told yourself you were fine too many times. You told yourself to move on before you had processed what happened. You told yourself not to cry because you feared that if you ever truly let go, the pain would overwhelm you. You told yourself that healing was too much work, too heavy, too raw, and so you buried things you did not know how to carry. But hear me now, my child. I have never asked you to heal all at once. I have only asked you to stop running from the places that still ache. There is a part of your heart that has been waiting to be acknowledged. A part of you that remembers every betrayal, every disappointment, every word that cut deeper than it should have, every moment you felt abandoned or unwanted or insufficient. You pushed those memories down because you didn't have the tools, the support, or the safety to face them. You told yourself healing could wait. You told yourself it wasn't important anymore. But pain that is not healed becomes a shadow that follows you. It affects how you trust, how you love, how you see yourself, how you speak to yourself, and how you respond to the world. Pain unaddressed becomes patterns repeated. Pain suppressed becomes fear disguised. Pain ignored becomes weight carried. And you, my beloved one, have carried far too much for far too long. You have been afraid of opening the wounds because you feared they might break you again. But they will not. You are stronger now. You are wiser now. You are more supported now. And more importantly, you do not have to open them alone. I am here, not to force healing upon you, but to guide you into it with gentleness and love. Healing does not have to be violent. Healing does not have to be overwhelming. Healing can be soft. Healing can be gradual. Healing can be steady. Healing can happen in the small moments when you finally give yourself permission to feel what you've avoided. There are parts of you that still grieve the things you lost, the people who walked away without explanation, the seasons that ended too soon, the dreams that fell apart, the versions of yourself you no longer recognize. Let yourself grieve. Let yourself feel. Grief is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of love. There are parts of you still angry at what happened, angry at who hurt you, angry at yourself for allowing things to unfold the way they did. Let yourself acknowledge the anger. Anger is not a sin. Anger is not a flaw. Anger is a sign that something mattered to you. There are parts of you still afraid of repeating the past, afraid of being vulnerable again, afraid of trusting, afraid of hoping. Let yourself admit the fear. Fear loses its power when it is brought into the light. My child, healing begins the moment you stop pretending you are unaffected. And I want you to know this. The healing you are afraid to start is the very healing that will set you free. It will free you from cycles you couldn't break before. It will free you from self-doubt that echoes from old wounds. It will free you from carrying pain that was never your fault. It will free you from punishing yourself for what others did to you. It will free you from believing you are unworthy of love, peace, and joy. The season you are entering requires a lighter heart, a clear mind, and a restored spirit. The change approaching your life is too sacred to be filtered through unhealed pain. And that is why I am inviting you, gently, patiently, lovingly, to begin healing now. Not alone, not all at once, not with pressure, but with me. Let me tend to the places that hurt. Let me soothe the fears you've held in silence. Let me unravel the knots that formed inside your heart. Let me restore what you lost, rebuild what was broken, and revive what you thought would never return. The healing you've been afraid to start will be the healing that transforms everything. And I will walk with you through every moment of it. My beloved child, as you begin to step toward the healing you once feared, I want to speak directly to a lie that has lingered in your heart for far too long. A lie that has whispered to you in moments of quiet. A lie that has weighed on you whenever you looked at your life and compared it to the lives around you. A lie that has convinced you to question your timing, your progress, and your worth. You have believed, at times, that you are behind. Behind in success. Behind in purpose. Behind in healing. Behind in growth. Behind in life. You've watched others move ahead, celebrating milestones, embracing new seasons, achieving goals you once hoped for, and there were moments when you felt left out, overlooked, or somehow too late. You told yourself that if you had made different decisions, if you had been stronger, if life had been kinder, you would be further along than you are now. But hear me, precious child, you are not behind. You have never been behind. You are being repositioned. The timeline you compare yourself to is not the timeline I have designed for you. You are not meant to move at the same pace as others, nor are you meant to bloom at the same time, nor are you meant to walk the same path. Your life is divinely timed. Every delay, every shift, every pause has purpose woven into it. You think you have been standing still, but in truth, I have been redirecting your steps. Not backward, not sideways, upward, deeper, inward, forward in a way that is uniquely yours. The process you are experiencing is not stagnation, it is alignment. There were things you needed to learn before stepping into the next season. Lessons that could only come through experience. There were wounds that needed tending, habits that needed breaking, patterns that needed unraveling. You see, my child, I have been protecting you from building a future on an unstable foundation. I needed to strengthen the ground beneath you before allowing you to rise. You are not late. You are layered. Every layer of your story, every heartbreak, every moment of confusion, every season of waiting, every trial you've endured, has shaped you into someone wiser, stronger, and more compassionate than you would have been without it. You are not behind. You are becoming. And let me tell you something that will lift a weight from your spirit. The things you feel late in receiving will come to you at the exact moment they can bless you, not break you. The reason some doors opened for others earlier is because their story required it. Your story requires a different timing, a different preparation, a different unfolding. You were never meant to arrive at the same time as anyone else. Think of how the sun rises. It does not rush. It does not apologize for its timing. It rises at the exact moment it is meant to, no sooner, no later. And when it rises, everything beneath it changes. You are rising, my child. Not slowly, perfectly. Not late, purposefully. Not behind, beautifully aligned with destiny. You thought the pauses in your life were setbacks. They were not. They were divine redirections. You thought you were losing time. You were not. You were gaining wisdom, depth, resilience, and strength. You thought life was closing in on you. It was not. Life was opening in ways you could not yet see. I repositioned you because where you were standing before could not support the future you are stepping into. I led you away from situations, people, and environments that would have hindered your growth. I guided you through pruning seasons so you could flourish without being held down by what was never meant to grow with you. There is a reason certain doors fell out of reach. There is a reason some opportunities came later. There is a reason you had to walk through valleys before stepping onto the mountain. I was shaping you in ways you could not have shaped yourself. You are not missing out. You are being set up. You are not falling behind. You are being elevated. You are not delayed. You are being aligned with a path that fits you perfectly. And soon, you will begin to see why your journey took the turns it did. You will see why the timing was different for you. You will see why you needed certain seasons that others did not need. You will see why I protected you from things you thought you wanted. You will see why the pace of your story has been uniquely crafted. When the pieces come together, and they will, you will not say, "I am late." You will say, "This was the exact moment it was meant to happen." So rest your heart, my beloved child. Stop measuring yourself against timelines that were never yours. Stop holding yourself to standards I did not set. Stop believing you are behind when, in truth, you are right on time for the life that is unfolding for you. Every step of your journey, every high, every low, every pause, has been preparing you for a future that fits you, grows you, and fulfills you. You are not behind. You are becoming ready. My beloved child, as I continue to walk with you through this unfolding truth, I want to speak to something that has been echoing within you for a long time, something you may not have spoken out loud but have felt deeply in the quiet corners of your heart. Your heart has been crying for clarity. You have been trying to make sense of your life, searching for meaning in the chaos, searching for direction in seasons where everything felt uncertain, searching for answers to questions that have lived inside you for years. You have been longing for understanding, wondering why things happened the way they did, wondering why you felt drawn to certain paths and pushed away from others, wondering why your heart held desires that did not seem to match your circumstances. There were days when you felt lost, even while surrounded by people. Days when your thoughts ran in circles. Days when you felt torn between what was familiar and what was calling you forward. Days when you asked, what am I supposed to do? What is my purpose? Which way should I go? What is truly meant for me? And the lack of clear answers made you restless, anxious, or overwhelmed. But hear me now. Your desire for clarity is not a flaw. It is a sign that your spirit is awakening. It is a sign that you are no longer willing to live blindly, drift aimlessly, or settle for a life that does not reflect your true identity. It is a sign that you are ready to see with new eyes. Your heart has been crying for clarity because clarity is the doorway to peace. Without clarity, you feel uncertain. Without clarity, your steps feel heavy. Without clarity, your decisions feel risky. Without clarity, even blessings can feel confusing. That is why your soul has been longing for understanding. You were created to walk with purpose, not confusion. But clarity does not always arrive in the way you expect. You expected clarity to come as instant answers, as sudden epiphanies, as loud directions that removed all uncertainty. But my clarity often comes quietly. It comes in gentle shifts. It comes in the softening of your heart. It comes in the closing of old doors. It comes through discomfort nudging you toward change. It comes through desires that won't leave you alone. It comes through peace that rests on certain decisions and tension that rests on others. Sometimes clarity comes by removing what is wrong before revealing what is right. Sometimes clarity comes by ending what cannot continue. Sometimes clarity comes by walking through what you do not understand so your spirit can learn what your mind cannot yet grasp. You thought clarity was far away, but it has been forming within you, piece by piece, through every situation that stretched you, every feeling you tried to ignore, every shift you didn't understand. The restlessness you felt, that was clarity in disguise, showing you that the life you once tolerated no longer aligns with who you are. The discomfort you felt in old patterns, that was clarity urging you to grow. The desire you felt for something more, that was clarity awakening purpose inside you. The intuition that whispered not here, or not this, or not anymore, that was clarity guiding you away from paths that would have harmed you. You see, my beloved child, clarity rarely comes as a single moment. It comes as a collection of moments, small, subtle, sacred moments, that eventually form a truth you can no longer ignore. And now, as I speak to you in this very moment, more clarity is coming. I am revealing why certain chapters had to close. I am revealing why your heart shifted before your life did. I am revealing why certain people walked away. I am revealing why you felt out of place in environments that once felt comfortable. I am revealing why you had to be repositioned, refined, and prepared. Your heart has been crying for clarity because something inside you knows that you are on the verge of a new season. You sense the shift. You feel the pull. You can tell change is approaching. And your spirit wants to be ready. And hear me gently. You will not miss the clarity that is meant for you. I am not a god of confusion. I am not the author of anxiety. I do not guide you in circles. I do not leave you wandering without purpose. When the moment comes for you to step forward, you will know. You will feel a peace that rises above fear. You will feel a certainty that quiets doubt. You will feel an alignment that confirms your direction. But for now, breathe, my child. Your desire for clarity is not a sign that you are lost. It is a sign that you are waking up. It is a sign that you are outgrowing old versions of yourself. It is a sign that you are preparing for what is coming. And soon, sooner than you expect, the clarity you have been longing for will meet you with gentle certainty and undeniable truth. Not to overwhelm you, but to guide you. Not to confuse you, but to free you. not to pressure you, but to position you. Your heart cried out for clarity, and I am answering that cry now. My beloved child, now that we have opened the door to the clarity your heart has longed for, I need you to understand something even deeper, something that has been woven into every chapter of your story, whether you recognized it or not. I need you to know how profoundly, how consistently, and how lovingly I have been protecting you. There are moments in your life you look back on and still cannot make sense of. Moments where things ended abruptly. Moments where people left without explanation. Moments where opportunities slipped through your hands. Moments where situations changed suddenly and left you feeling confused, rejected, or hurt. But beneath every one of those moments, my protection was at work. You see, my child, you often pray for blessings, but you rarely see the dangers I shield you from. You ask me for open doors, but you cannot always see the destruction behind the doors I close. You long for certain relationships, certain paths, certain outcomes, but you cannot see the full story the way I do. You see the present. I see the future. I see the intentions of hearts. I see the consequences hidden from your view. And because I love you, I protect you, even when my protection feels like loss. There were people you wanted to keep in your life, but I saw the damage they would have caused to your confidence, your growth, your identity. I saw the ways they might have limited you, drained you, or altered the path I designed for you. And so I allowed distance. I stirred discomfort. I created separation, not to hurt you, but to shield you from a pain you did not yet see coming. There were opportunities you prayed for, believing they would bring breakthrough. But I saw the weight you were not ready to carry, the environments that were not aligned with your purpose, the pressures that would have crushed your spirit. So instead of granting the opportunity, I protected you by redirecting you. There were situations where you felt something was off, even though everything looked fine on the surface. That intuition, that uneasiness, that inner check, that was my voice guiding you away from harm. You thought it was worry. It was me whispering, "This is not for you." There were times when delays frustrated you. You thought you were falling behind. You thought life was passing you. You thought you were missing out. But delay has never been denial. It has always been protection. Sometimes I slow you down to keep you from walking into a storm that will pass if you simply wait a little longer. You have no idea how many times I have shielded you quietly, gently, without recognition. Think of the nights when you were overwhelmed but didn't break. Think of the conversations that didn't happen. Think of the disasters that never reached you. Think of the strength that rose in you when you thought you had none. Think of the peace that came from nowhere when fear tried to consume you. These were not coincidences. They were my protection. My child, you are so quick to blame yourself for the connections that ended, for the opportunities lost, for the things that didn't work out. You assume you failed. You assume you were not enough. You assume you should have done something differently. But hear me gently. Not everything that leaves your life is a loss. Some things are removed by my hand because they were not meant to stay. I have been protecting you from relationships that would have dimmed your light. I have been protecting you from environments that would have suffocated your growth. I have been protecting you from timelines that would have overwhelmed you. I have been protecting you from choices that would have taken you off course. Every closed door had purpose. Every unanswered prayer had intention. Every sudden change in direction had meaning. Every person who walked away created space for something better to arrive. And I know, my child, that sometimes my protection feels like abandonment, especially when you cannot see what I am shielding you from. But trust this, my protection is an act of love, not distance. I do not remove things from your life to punish you. I remove them to protect what is sacred within you. You have been praying for blessings, but sometimes the greatest blessing I can give you is protection. Protection of your heart. Protection of your spirit. Protection of your purpose. Protection of your future. And soon, very soon, you will look back and say, "Now I see why that had to shift. Now I see why that ended. Now I see why that door closed. Now I see why I had to wait." What felt like a barrier will be revealed as a shield. What felt like a setback will be revealed as safeguarding. What felt like loss will be revealed as mercy. My beloved child, you have not walked a single step unprotected. Even when you felt abandoned, I was guarding you. Even when you felt broken, I was carrying you. Even when you felt confused, I was guiding you. You have been held in my hands every moment of your life, and that will never change. My beloved child, now that you understand how deeply I have protected you, I want to bring you into a truth that will free your heart from one of its greatest burdens, the burden of mourning doors that were never meant to open for you. You have spent so much time wondering why certain paths did not unfold, why certain opportunities slipped away, why certain relationships ended, why certain dreams dissolved. But I need you to understand something that will shift the way you see your entire journey. The doors you lost were not your doors. There were doors you knocked on with hope, doors you prayed over, doors you waited beside with patience and expectation. When they didn't open, you felt rejected. You felt overlooked. You felt forgotten. You questioned your worth. You told yourself that if you had been more skilled, more lovable, more deserving, those doors would have opened. But hear me gently. Those doors were never meant to welcome you. Not because you were unworthy. Not because you were unprepared. But because what lay behind them was beneath what I intended for you. You only saw the surface of those doors. You saw the promise. You saw the potential. You saw the possibilities. But I saw the truth. I saw the hidden challenges that would have drained you. I saw the toxic patterns that would have wounded you. I saw the emotional weight that would have suffocated you. I saw the environment that would have stunted your growth. I saw the things you could not see. So I closed the door. You saw the closing as rejection. I saw it as protection. You saw it as loss. I saw it as alignment. You saw it as an ending. I saw it as a beginning. There were relationships you desperately wanted to keep, people you loved, people you cared for, people you believed would walk with you through life. But when they walked away, you felt abandoned. You felt like something in you wasn't enough. You tried to understand what went wrong. You replayed conversations. You blamed yourself. But my child, some people are not meant to stay. Not because they are bad, but because their chapter in your story has a purpose and a limit. Your growth required separation. Their presence would have kept you tied to a version of yourself I was calling you out of. Their mindset would have limited your expansion. Their energy would have hindered your evolution. Their influence would have kept you small. So I allowed the distance, not to hurt you, but to release you. Even the opportunities you were certain were perfect for you, if you only knew what I was keeping from you. Opportunities that would have drained you emotionally. Opportunities that would have demanded pieces of you that you could not afford to lose. Opportunities that would have distracted you from your calling. Opportunities that would have looked promising, but ended in bitterness or burnout. The doors you lost were not your doors. You must understand this, my precious one. What is truly yours cannot be taken from you. Not by people. Not by circumstances. Not by time. Not by mistakes. When something belongs to your destiny, nothing can stop it from reaching you. And when something does not belong to your destiny, no amount of effort can force it into your life. I have never denied you what was meant for you. I have only denied what would have harmed you, diminished you, or delayed you. When the right door opens, and it will not require you to beg. It will not require you to shrink yourself. It will not require you to compromise your worth. It will not require you to chase or convince or cling. The right door will recognize you. The right people will meet you with alignment, not resistance. The right opportunity will carry peace, not anxiety. The right path will feel like clarity, not confusion. And here is something I want you to hold on to deeply. You have not lost anything that was meant for your future. You have only been redirected away from what was too small for you. The closed doors made room for better doors. Doors you have not seen yet. Doors that are opening in ways you can't detect. Doors that are aligned with a healed, strengthened, wiser version of you that is emerging. What you thought you lost was just making space. What you thought slipped away was simply stepping aside for something greater. Soon, you will walk through a door that fits you perfectly. A door that honors your growth. A door that aligns with your purpose. A door that reflects the person you have fought to become. And when you do, you will look back on every door that did not open and say, "Thank you. Now I understand." You did not lose your doors. You outgrew them. My beloved child, now that you understand the truth about the doors that were never meant for you, I need you to come even closer. Open your heart, still your mind, and let my words settle deeply into you. Because what I am about to reveal will shift the way you see your future, your journey, and your purpose. Do not allow anything to distract you now. Stay with me until the very end, for this moment carries a revelation you have been unknowingly preparing for. You have spent much of your life looking ahead with uncertainty. You've wondered where you were going, what direction you should take, and whether your dreams were even achievable. You've questioned your purpose, questioned your path, questioned whether the best days of your life were behind you or still ahead. You've lived with quiet doubts, quiet fears, quiet hopes that you were afraid to fully embrace. But here is the truth I want to place inside you, my child. Your future is far bigger than your past. And the life ahead of you is not defined by what you've lost, but by what you are being prepared to receive. You have been walking through a season of uprooting, of release, of shedding, of realigning, not because you are being diminished, but because you are being positioned for growth you could not step into without leaving certain things behind. What I am about to reveal to you will change how you see your path. You are stepping into a future where you will not have to fight for what belongs to you. You are stepping into a season where your spirit, your purpose, and your opportunities will finally align. You are stepping into a life where your worth will no longer be questioned, especially not by you. Your future is not fragile. Your future is intentional. Your future is designed with precision, beauty, and divine alignment. I want you to understand that the shifts happening in your life are not random disruptions. They are signs of repositioning. Your desires have been changing. Your values have been evolving. Your interests have been reshaping. This is not confusion. This is preparation. I'm preparing you for a future that requires a different version of you. A future where you will no longer settle. A future where you will no longer shrink. A future where you will no longer silence your voice to maintain peace that harms you. And I need you to know this. The future you fear will not come to pass. The future you long for will. You have been afraid at times, afraid of failing, afraid of hoping, afraid of being disappointed again. But your future is secure in my hands. What lies ahead of you is not chaos. It is not loss. It is not heartbreak. It is not a repeat of your past. Your future holds restoration, purpose, growth, connection, joy, and clarity. But here is the part that may surprise you. Your future will not look like your past because you have changed. You are not who you were even 1 year ago. You have shed layers. You have healed wounds. You have gained wisdom. You have stepped into strength that used to feel foreign to you. And because you have changed, your future must change with you. And now, my precious one, I want you to listen very closely. What comes next in this message carries a shift that your heart has been preparing for. Do not step away. Do not pause. You are right on the edge of understanding something that will transform the way you see everything. And if these words have been resonating with your spirit, if they have opened your eyes or brought peace to your heart, bless this message with a like so that it can reach more souls who need this same encouragement. Share it with someone who may be standing in the middle of their own transition. And if you desire to continue receiving the guidance that your spirit has been longing for, subscribe and stay connected for more messages like this. But above all, remain right here, fully present, because I am about to show you that you were never meant to survive your story. You were meant to rise from it. Your future is not something to fear. It is something to look forward to with expectancy. And the revelation I will unveil next will lift the veil that has been clouding your vision. Stay with me, child. Your understanding is about to expand. Your hope is about to deepen. Your future is about to make sense in a way it never has before. My beloved child, I told you this revelation would change how you see your future, and now I call you to respond. There are hearts standing at the edge of despair, and this message is the fire lighting their path forward. I remind you, the one who waters will himself be watered, for this is me speaking life into your obedience. I am calling you personally to help me carry this word beyond this moment. Your support through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, linked below and shown my QR code, is seed released into eternal soil. This is not a delay moment. It is a destiny moment. I bless your giving, and I decree divine acceleration over your life. Move now. Be the reason another soul hears me before everything changes. My beloved child, now that you have opened your heart to the truth of your future, I want to reveal something tender, powerful, and deeply significant. It is something you may have sensed rising within you but could not fully name. It is something you have glimpsed in moments of clarity, strength, and courage, yet doubted whenever fear whispered its lies. What I am about to tell you will help you understand why so much in your life has shifted, why so many things have fallen away, and why the journey has felt heavier at times than you believed you could bear. The version of you that is emerging is not the same version that began this journey. There is a transformation happening within you, quiet but undeniable. You may not see it clearly yet, but I do. I see strength forming in places where weakness once lived. I see the wisdom that has grown from the lessons that once broke your heart. I see the compassion that has deepened because of the battles you survived. I see the resilience in your soul, even on the days when you feel fragile. You are not just becoming stronger. You are becoming truer, more aligned, more awakened, more aware of your worth. The version of you that is emerging is one who no longer apologizes for existing, one who no longer tolerates what harms their peace, one who no longer clings to what pulls them backward, one who no longer ignores the quiet nudges of their spirit, one who no longer hides their pain or their power, one who walks forward with intention instead of fear. This new version of you is not broken. This new version of you is not confused. This new version of you is not lost. This new version of you is rising. That is why old environments have felt uncomfortable. That is why old relationships no longer fit. That is why old habits began to feel heavy. That is why old dreams began to shift. Your spirit has grown beyond the spaces that once felt familiar. You have stretched. You have expanded. You have awakened. And when your inner world transforms, your outer world must shift to match it. My child, you have been shedding layers of fear, layers of doubt, layers of insecurity, layers of self-blame, layers of survival mode thinking. These layers protected you once, but now they restrain you. And I am not calling you to survive anymore. I am calling you to live, fully, freely, boldly. The version of you that is emerging is one who recognizes their value, not as the world defines it, but as I created it. You are learning to speak to yourself with kindness instead of criticism. You are learning to trust yourself again. You are learning to honor your boundaries. You are learning to listen to your intuition. You are learning to choose peace over chaos, truth over illusion, alignment over attachment. You are growing into the person you were always meant to become. You may wonder why this inner transformation feels so exhausting at times. It is because becoming new requires releasing what is old. It is because growth demands letting go. It is because rising requires leaving behind the weight that once kept you grounded. Transformation is not gentle, but it is sacred. Think of a tree shedding leaves in autumn. At first glance, it looks like loss. But the shedding is not death, it is preparation. It is clearing space for new life to grow. In the same way, the parts of you that have fallen away were making room for the version of you that is beginning to emerge. You are stepping into greater clarity. You are stepping into deeper confidence. You are stepping into a steadier sense of purpose. You are stepping into a more grounded identity. You are evolving into someone who no longer bows to fear, who no longer shrinks to make others comfortable, who no longer carries pain alone. You are becoming someone who stands firmly in their truth, who honors their heart, who embraces their calling, who trusts my guidance even when the path ahead feels uncertain. And understand this, the version of you that is emerging is the version you were created to be all along. Life tried to bury you under disappointment, heartbreak, and doubt. But your spirit kept fighting. Your heart kept reaching. Your soul kept rising. I have been guiding this transformation. I have been shaping this identity. I have been preparing this version of you for a future far greater than your past. Do not fear who you are becoming. Embrace it. Honor it. Trust it. Because everything you have walked through has led you to this emergence. Everything you have endured has molded you into someone capable of carrying the blessings that are approaching. My precious child, you are not losing yourself. You are finding the truest version of who you were always meant to be. My beloved child, now that you understand the version of yourself that is emerging, I want to take you deeper into a truth your heart has already begun to sense, a truth that explains much of the discomfort, unrest, and inner stretching you've been experiencing. Listen closely, for this will help you understand the shifts happening within you and around you. Your spirit has outgrown your old life. You may not have had the words for it. You may have simply felt off, disconnected, unsettled, or strangely distant from environments and people who once felt familiar. You may have wondered why conversations you used to enjoy now feel draining. Why places you once found comfort in now feel too small. Why connections that once gave you joy now leave you feeling misunderstood or unseen. Why the life you once tolerated now feels like a cage instead of a home. My child, this discomfort has not been a sign of failure or confusion. It has been a sign of growth. It has been the quiet, powerful evidence that your spirit is expanding, maturing, ascending. Your inner world has grown beyond the limitations of your old patterns, your old environments, your old identities, your old expectations. You are evolving, and your old life can no longer contain who you are becoming. When a spirit grows, the world around it must shift. This is why old interests no longer hold your attention. This is why old habits suddenly feel heavy. This is why old mindsets feel restrictive. This is why you've lost the ability to shrink yourself just to fit in. It is not because you are broken. It is because you are becoming the person you used to be, need in certain surroundings, certain relationships, certain coping mechanisms, certain ways of thinking. But that was before the healing began, before the awakening, before your spirit started rising, before you realized you wanted more from life, more truth, more peace, more depth, more alignment, more purpose. You outgrew the versions of yourself that were rooted in survival. You outgrew the roles you played to keep the peace. You outgrew the expectations others placed on you. You outgrew the limitations that kept you small. Growth always creates tension with what is no longer in alignment. Think of a child who has outgrown their clothes. The clothing does not become wrong. It simply becomes too tight. It restricts instead of protecting. It limits instead of covering. In the same way, the life you once fit into has become too small for your evolving identity. You tried to stay comfortable, but comfort began to feel like suffocation. You tried to hold on to the familiar, but the familiar became a barrier. You tried to remain the same, but your spirit kept insisting on expansion. And I allowed that stretching. I allowed that discomfort. I allowed that inner restlessness. Not to frustrate you, but to move you. You were never meant to remain in places that could not hold the fullness of who you are becoming. This is why certain friendships began to fade. You didn't drift away out of pride. You drifted because your souls were moving in different directions. You were growing. They were staying still. And your spirit knew the difference. This is why certain dreams had changed shape. The dreams you had before were built on an old version of yourself. As you transformed, so did your desires. Your vision is clearer now. Your values are deeper. Your purpose is stronger. This is why you have felt the urge to release things you once held tightly. Relationships, habits, routines, even memories. Not because you stopped caring, but because your spirit is clearing space for what aligns with the new season of your life. You are not losing your old life. Your old life has served its purpose. Your spirit is calling you forward. Forward into environments that nourish you. Forward into relationships that honor you. Forward into opportunities that reflect your growth. Forward into a version of your life that matches the version of yourself emerging. But hear me gently. This transition may feel lonely at times. When you outgrow what once surrounded you, there is an in-between space where you haven't yet arrived at what is new. That space feels quiet, unsettling, uncertain. But it is sacred. It is the space where transformation roots itself deeply. It is the space where clarity begins to bloom. It is the space where I prepare you for what comes next. Do not return to what you have outgrown just because the unfamiliar feels intimidating. Growth never leads you backward. Only fear does. And you are not being led by fear, you are being led by it. Your spirit is rising higher. Your life will rise to meet it. You may not fully see the new doors yet, but they are forming. You may not see the new connections yet, but they are approaching. You may not understand the full picture yet, but it is unfolding. The version of you that is emerging cannot thrive in the life you are leaving behind. Trust what is happening inside you. Trust the expansion. Trust the release. Trust the unfamiliar. Trust me. Your spirit is not breaking. It is awakening. And because of that, everything around you must shift. My beloved child, now that you understand how your spirit has outgrown your old life, I want to reveal something you have overlooked for far too long. Something powerful. Something sacred. Something that has carried you through seasons you barely survived. Something that has been with you even when you felt weak, afraid, or uncertain. It is time for you to recognize the quiet courage you didn't know you carried. You often look at yourself through the lens of your struggles. You see the moments when you felt overwhelmed. You remember the nights you cried, the days you doubted, the decisions you questioned. You recall the times when you wanted to give up, when you felt exhausted, when you felt empty. You see all of this and you tell yourself you are fragile, inconsistent, or unworthy. But listen to me, my child. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing to keep moving, keep believing, keep hoping, keep trying, even when fear is present. And you have done that again and again. You have faced days where your heart felt heavy but you still showed up. That is courage. You have walked through seasons of uncertainty and kept pressing forward. That is courage. You have survived losses that broke you yet refused to let them define you. That is courage. You have held on to hope even when everything around you looked hopeless. That is courage. You do not give yourself enough credit for the strength you carry. You think courage looks loud, bold, confident. But the truest form of courage is often quiet. It is found in the small decisions, the daily battles, the unseen choices you make when no one is watching. It is found in the way you continue to love despite being hurt, and the way you continue to trust despite being disappointed, and the way you continue to rise despite being knocked down. Your courage is not loud, but it is real, and it is powerful. There were moments when you thought you were falling apart, but you were actually holding more together than you realized. There were moments when you believed you were weak, but I saw strength rising in you. There were moments when you felt invisible, but I saw every step you took, every battle you fought, every effort you made. Even the moments when you thought you failed were moments when you showed incredible bravery. Do you know the courage it takes to heal, to forgive, to let go, to walk away, to stay when staying is right, to change, to try again? Your courage has been present every single day. You have stood in situations that tested you deeply. You have faced conversations that shook your confidence. You have wrestled with internal battles no one else knew about. You have carried pain in silence. You have navigated transitions with grace even when your heart was trembling. You have chosen truth over comfort. You have chosen growth over familiarity. You have chosen to keep your heart open even after it was broken. This is courage in its purest form. And I need you to understand this. I never expected you to be fearless. I only asked you to trust me enough to move, even when fear whispered loudly. And you have done that. Even when you doubted yourself, even when you questioned everything, you still reached for me. You still whispered prayers. You still hoped for better days. You still believed that something more was possible. That belief, even when small, is courage. Your quiet courage has carried you further than you know. It has kept you from giving up. It has opened doors inside your heart. It has softened your spirit when bitterness tried to harden it. It has held your faith together when life tried to scatter it. It has shaped you into the person you are becoming. And now, as you move into the next chapter of your life, you will need to honor that courage. Not because danger is coming, but because opportunity is. You will need courage to step into new environments, courage to accept blessings, courage to let love in, courage to trust again, courage to rise into the version of yourself that has been quietly forming under the surface. My child, the courage within you is not fragile. It is rooted in everything you have lived through. It is shaped by experience, by pain, by healing, by hope. It is strengthened by every moment you refuse to quit. And it will guide you as your life begins to shift. You do not need to strive to be brave. You already are. You do not need to become strong. Strength is already in you. You do not need to force boldness. Boldness is already awakening within you. Your courage has always been there, steady, quiet, and real. And as you continue walking with me, that quiet courage will rise, leading you into the life that is waiting for you with open arms. My beloved child, now that you recognize the quiet courage you have carried through every valley, I want to speak to you about something that has weighed heavily on your spirit for years, the season that felt the longest, the slowest, the most confusing, and the most painful. The season you prayed would end. The season you thought would break you. The season you questioned more than any other. The one you believed had no purpose, no meaning, no direction. But I want you to hear me now. There was a blessing hidden in your longest season, even if you could not see it at the time. You have walked through stretches of life that felt endless. Days that looked identical, nights that felt heavy, moments where you begged for change, prayed for release, or pleaded for clarity. You wondered why you were stuck when others were moving. You wondered why you were waiting when others were arriving. You wondered why breakthrough always felt one step out of reach. You looked around and could not understand why my timing felt so slow, so distant, so unlike what you hoped for. But my child, while you saw stagnation, I saw preparation. While you saw delay, I saw development. While you saw emptiness, I saw expansion. Your longest season was not a punishment. It was not evidence that I had forgotten you. It was not a sign that your life was missing something. Your longest season was the soil where your roots were strengthening for what was coming next. You see, seasons that feel prolonged often have the deepest purpose. Growth that appears slow from the outside is often the most transformative on the inside. Just like a tree does its strongest growing beneath the surface, where no one sees, your spirit was being built, fortified, and matured in ways that no one else could witness. In your longest season, you learned resilience you didn't know you possessed. You discovered strength you thought you lacked. You learned to rely on me in ways you never had before. You developed a depth of character that could only be shaped through time. You uncovered wounds that needed healing. You learned patience, not as passivity, but as trust. And you came to understand something precious, that not every blessing is immediate. Some blessings require process. Some blessings require emptying before filling. Some blessings require stillness before movement. Some blessings require isolation before revelation. Your longest season removed distractions. It exposed the truth. It revealed what mattered. It brought you face to face with yourself. You learned to stand even when you felt unsteady. You learned to breathe even when the air felt heavy. You learned to hope even when hope seemed unreasonable. You learned to endure even when you had nothing left but a whisper. And you did all of this without realizing just how powerful the blessing of endurance would become. There were days you wanted to walk away from everything, your goals, your faith, your dreams, yourself. But even in those moments, something inside you refused to let go completely. That something was me. I was carrying you when you couldn't carry yourself. I was whispering strength into your spirit when you felt numb. I was sustaining you in ways you didn't recognize. I know you didn't understand why the season lasted so long. I know you felt forgotten at times. I know you questioned my love. But my child, love does not always look like rapid change. Sometimes love looks like long preparation, so that once your moment arrives, you never crumble under the weight of blessing. There were lessons you could not have learned any other way. Growth you could not have gained any other way. Wisdom you could not have received any other way. And though you did not ask for the long season, it shaped you into someone who is now capable of carrying what is coming. The blessing was not the length of the season, but what the season built within you. And now, that season is coming to a close. The heaviness you once felt is lifting. The fog is clearing. The inner stirring you sensed is the first sign that the chapter is turning. You will not remain where you have been. The purpose behind your longest season is about to reveal itself. What once felt like wasted time will become the very foundation of your strength. What once felt like delay will become the reason you are so prepared. What once felt like emptiness will become the source of your fullness. Nothing was wasted. Nothing. The blessing was hidden, but it was real. And soon, you will see it with your own eyes, not as a distant truth, but as a tangible unfolding of purpose in your life. Your longest season was not the end of your story, but with the making of you. My beloved child, now that you understand the blessing hidden in your longest season, I want to take you by the hand and gently guide you into the truth of what is happening in your life right now. You may not have words for it yet. You may only feel it as a shift, a stirring, a quiet inner pull. You may sense something changing but cannot tell what it is. You may feel both excited and uncertain, both hopeful and cautious. This is because you are stepping into a new alignment. What does that mean? It means that the pieces of your life that once felt scattered are beginning to come together. It means that the things that were once unclear are beginning to make sense. It means that the questions you carried for so long are beginning to find answers, subtly, softly, gradually. It means that I am aligning your spirit, your purpose, your relationships, your opportunities, and your next steps in a way that matches who you have become. You see, alignment is not merely about movement. It is about matching. It is about harmonizing your inner world with your outer world. It is about walking into a season that fits the healed, awakened, strengthened version of you. And everything you have walked through, every heartbreak, every waiting period, every moment of confusion, has prepared you for this moment. You are not returning to an old path. You are being aligned with the one you were always meant to walk. This new alignment is sacred, is intentional. It is not random. It is not accidental. It is the result of years of inner refining, moments of spiritual awakening, and the quiet work that has been happening beneath the surface of your life. You may not fully see it yet, but you will soon. The shift is already underway. Have you noticed how your heart no longer tolerates what once drained it? That is alignment. Have you noticed how you feel pulled away from environments that no longer nourish your growth? That is alignment. Have you noticed how you are becoming more honest with yourself, more aware of your needs, more protective of your peace? That is alignment. Have you noticed how some relationships are fading while others feel more important than ever? That is alignment. Have you noticed how certain opportunities no longer excite you, while new dreams begin to stir within? That is alignment. My child, alignment requires release. You cannot carry the old into the new. You cannot force yourself into places that no longer fit. You cannot hold on to relationships that do not support your next chapter. You cannot cling to habits that contradict your spirit's growth. This is why life has been stretching you. This is why certain chapters had to close. This is why your heart has felt unsettled in old spaces. I have been realigning everything around you so that everything within you can expand. This new alignment also means that you will soon find yourself in environments that feel strangely familiar, as if you've been prepared for them your whole life. You will meet people who feel like home the moment your spirit recognizes theirs. You will step into places where your gifts are needed, valued, and honored. You will make decisions with a clarity that once felt impossible. This is not coincidence. This is not luck. This is alignment, the divine meeting of preparation and opportunity. And hear me gently, my precious one. Alignment does not always feel comfortable at first. It often feels like being stretched, like being pushed out of what is familiar, like being rearranged internally. It feels like letting go before you know what you're walking into. It feels like trusting more deeply than you ever have. But alignment always leads you to peace. Always. You may not have the full picture yet, but your spirit knows something is shifting. Listen to that inner knowing. It is not fear. It is not anxiety. It is not confusion. It is the quiet voice of purpose awakening within you, guiding you toward where you are meant to be. And soon, you will notice how everything begins to line up. Conversations, timing, opportunities, connections, and even unexpected turns. Paths that once felt blocked will suddenly open. Things that once felt heavy will feel light. Decisions that once overwhelmed you will become clear. This is what happens when your life aligns with your calling. You are stepping into a season where things begin to make sense, where your spirit and your steps finally move together, where clarity replaces confusion, where peace replaces pressure, where purpose replaces wandering. My beloved child, trust this alignment. You are not being led into uncertainty. You are being led into destiny. What you are stepping into is not random. It is intentional. It is purposeful. It is right on time. Everything is aligning. Everything is shifting. Everything is preparing you for what is coming. And you are ready, more ready than you know. My beloved child, now that you see how your life is entering a new alignment, I want to soothe the part of your heart that still feels nervous, uncertain, or hesitant about the changes happening around you and within you. I know change can be unsettling. I know it can stir old fears. I know it can awaken questions you thought you had silenced. You may worry about what you will lose. You may wonder what you will have to let go. You may fear that the changes ahead will be too overwhelming, too sudden, or too unfamiliar. But hear me with the deepest tenderness. Every change coming into your life is for your good. This is not a season of loss. This is a season of rearranging. This is a season where I am shifting everything that no longer fits, everything that no longer aligns, everything that no longer reflects who you are becoming. The change you feel is not meant to harm you. It is meant to free you. It is meant to elevate you. It is meant to prepare you for the life you prayed for, even if it doesn't look like it yet. You fear change because it threatens the familiar, even when the familiar has been hurting you. You fear change because it requires trust, even when trust has been difficult for you. You fear change because it feels like stepping into the unknown, even when the unknown is where your purpose waits. But my child, I want you to lift your eyes and see this truth. I am not leading you into chaos. I am leading you into clarity. I am not pushing you into uncertainty. I am guiding you into alignment. The changes ahead are not random events. They are the unfolding of answers to prayers you prayed, sometimes years ago. Every change coming will reveal something necessary. Some will reveal strength. Some will reveal purpose. Some will reveal truth about relationships. Some will reveal the next chapter of your calling, but all of them will reveal me. Think of the seasons nature goes through. Leaves fall not because the tree is dying, but because it is preparing for new life. Storms come not to destroy the soil, but to water it. Winter settles in not to freeze the earth permanently, but to protect the roots until the warmth returns. Everything that changes is part of a greater process that leads to new growth. Your life, my beloved one, is no different. When I allow something to shift, it is because I am adjusting your path to match your destiny. When I allow something to end, it is because it has completed its purpose in your story. When I allow someone to drift away, it is because their chapter in your life has reached its conclusion. When I stir restlessness inside you, it is because I am preparing you to move into something better. Not one change happening in your life is designed to harm you. Some changes will come softly, like the tide gently pulling you forward. Others may feel sudden, like a door closing unexpectedly. But even the sudden shifts carry divine intention. Even the abrupt endings open the way for new beginnings. Even the unexpected turns lead to places you would not have reached on your own. My child, you must not interpret change as danger. Change is often the sign that I am near, guiding, shaping, redirecting. Change means transformation. Change means elevation. Change means growth. Change means the fulfillment of what had been forming in silence. You have prayed for strength, so I am changing the things that made you doubt your worth. You have prayed for peace, so I am changing the environments that disturbed your spirit. You have prayed for purpose, so I am changing your direction. You have prayed for alignment, so I am changing who and what surrounds you. Every change is connected to something you asked me for. You may not recognize it right away. You may not understand it fully at first. But trust that the path unfolding is crafted with unmatched wisdom and infinite love. And hear me one more time, with the fullness of my heart. You will not lose what is meant for you. You will not be harmed by what is coming. You will not be left empty. You will not be abandoned in transition. The changes approaching are gifts wrapped in unfamiliarity. They are answers disguised as shifts. They are breakthroughs disguised as endings. They are blessings disguised as new directions. My beloved child, breathe deeply. You do not need to fear what is coming. You need only to trust that I am already in the future you are walking into. And everything, absolutely everything, that is changing for your good. My beloved child, now that your heart understands that every change unfolding in your life is for your good, I need you to lean in more closely than ever. Do not drift. Do not let your attention wander. Do not allow anything to pull you away from this moment, for the revelation I am preparing to place in your spirit will bring together everything you have been walking through. Stay with me, for the final revelation is near. You may not realize it, but your spirit has been moving toward this moment for a long time. Through every season of waiting, through every painful transition, through every quiet awakening, you have been moving slowly, steadily, purposefully toward a deeper understanding of who you are and who I am shaping you to become. This moment is not random. This message is not coincidence. You are guided here because there is something you are meant to receive before the next chapter of your life unfolds. My child, what I am about to reveal will help you see your journey with new clarity. It will help you understand why the path had been shaped the way it has. It will help you breathe easier, trust deeper, and walk forward with a certainty you may have never known before. Do not step away now. Continue with me until the very end. You are closer than ever to the breakthrough your heart has been preparing for. You have felt the stirring. You have sensed the shift. You have noticed the changes, small and large, happening inside you and around you. These were not signs of confusion, but signs of preparation. They were the evidence that something was aligning in your favor, something rising in your spirit, something beginning to take shape that would lead you into the life I have always intended for you. But before this revelation lands fully in your heart, I want to tell you something that will steady you. The journey you've walked has not been easy, and I know that. There were days you felt tired, days you felt overlooked, days you wondered if anything you were doing mattered, days you questioned whether you were strong enough to continue, days when hope felt like a burden instead of a blessing. But despite every challenge, you remained. You kept going. You held on. That strength within you, even when it felt fragile, has brought you to this moment. And because you have remained, because you chose not to give up, I want you to stay with me now. What comes next will shift your perspective and help you understand what has been forming beneath the surface of your life. If these words have been touching your heart, if they have opened your eyes or brought peace to your spirit, I want you to bless this message with a like, not for popularity or numbers, but so that more souls who need this revelation can be guided here. Share it with someone you know is walking through their own quiet battle. And if you desire to continue receiving messages that uplift, strengthen, and guide your spirit, make sure you subscribe and stay connected. These moments we share are not accidental. They are appointments your soul hath been longing for. Now breathe, my child, and stay with me. The revelation that is coming will explain why certain seasons stretched you longer than expected. It will explain why certain relationships were removed from your life. It will explain why the dreams you once held no longer fit the person you are becoming. It will explain why your heart felt restless in old environments. It will explain why new desires began rising in you even when nothing around you supported them. It will explain why the changes happening within you have felt both unsettling and sacred. You have been walking in the in-between, the space between who you were and who you are becoming. Its space can feel confusing because it demands release before revealing what comes next. But trust me, the revelation ahead will lift that confusion. It will bring light to the places that have felt shaded. It will bring meaning to the experiences that once felt random. It will bring closure where you need closure, and hope where hope was fading. The final revelation is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to free you. It is meant to open your eyes. It is meant to prepare your spirit for the shift that is coming. It is meant to show you that nothing in your life has been wasted. Every moment has been leading you toward purpose. So stay with me, precious one. Do not step away. Do not grow distracted. Do not miss what is about to unfold. You have made it this far. The clarity your heart has longed for is near, and the truth I will reveal next will change the way you carry yourself, the way you see your past, and the way you step into your future. Stay close. The revelation is always here. My child, you have stayed with me, and now the final revelation draws near. But others still need to hear this before their lives shift. Like lamps filled with oil, this message must keep burning until every prepared heart sees the light. I speak my word over you now. Do not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time you will reap. I am asking you to step forward with me in this sacred work. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal in the description and QR code, you become a carrier of this revelation. This is holy urgency, not hesitation. I bless your seed, and I mark your obedience with favor and increase. Give now. Help me reach them before everything changes. My beloved child, now that you have stayed close and opened your heart to the nearness of the revelation I am preparing for you, I want to gently unfold a truth that will reshape the way you see the transitions happening in your life. You have looked at certain seasons, certain relationships, certain dreams, and certain chapters and thought to yourself, is it the end? You assumed the closing doors were final. You assumed the silence meant abandonment. You assumed the shifting meant loss. But hear me now with clarity and tenderness. What you thought was ending is actually beginning. There are moments in life when something familiar falls away, and the first instinct is to grieve it. You grieve the comfort it brought. You grieve the identity it gave you. You grieve the role it once played in your journey. And it is natural to feel this way, for endings often mirror loss. But not every ending is loss. Some endings are birth of new direction, new purpose, new identity, new alignment. You have been grieving things that were never meant to stay forever. You have been mourning chapters that completed their assignment. You have been holding on to stories that have already fulfilled their purpose. And because the closing felt painful, you assumed it was a setback. But in truth, it was a setup, a shift, a divine transition into the next layer of who you are becoming. Think of a seed. Before it grows, the shell that once protected it must break apart. From the outside, it looks like destruction. But the breaking is not the end. It is the beginning of life. The seed is not dying. He is transforming. In the same way, there are parts of your life that needed to break open, not to harm you, but to release what was inside you all along. The relationship that ended was not a punishment. It was a release that made room for deeper love. The opportunity that slipped away was not failure. It was clearing the path for something more aligned. The dream that changed shape was not confusion. It was evolution. The season that ended was not rejection. It was graduation. What you thought was ending was beginning. My child, I know how difficult it is to embrace change when you cannot see where it is leading. You stood in front of closed doors and felt the sting of disappointment. You watched things fall apart and wondered why. You felt the shift and feared it meant something was being taken from you. But let me tell you with unwavering certainty, I do not remove anything from your life without the intention of replacing it with something greater, something healthier, something more aligned with who you truly are. The job you lost was not the end of your security. The breakup you endured was not the end of your ability to love. The dream that dissolved was not the end of your purpose. The chapter that closed was not the end of your story. You are entering a season where hindsight will reveal my hand in places you once felt abandoned. You will see with clarity why certain paths had to end. You will understand that some endings were actually divine interruptions. Interruptions that prevented you from settling for less than what was destined for you. You see, endings only feel painful when you haven't yet seen what is beginning. It is only when you step into the new that you can look back and say, now I understand. Now I see why that had to end. I am not the God of dead ends. I am the God of new beginnings. And everything I allow to leave your life creates space for something that is meant to arrive. There is something new forming in your spirit right now. Something fresh. Something hopeful. Something alive. Something that aligns with your growth. You may not have language for it yet, but your spirit feels it. You feel the pull. You feel the shift. You feel the stretching. And though it may feel unfamiliar, it is holy. It is purposeful. It is intentional. The ending you fear is simply the doorway into a season that has been waiting patiently for you. So do not mourn forever what was only meant to be temporary. Do not cling to what has already released you. Do not label as loss what I have labeled as transition. Do not assume the closing chapter means your story is weakening. It is strengthening, maturing. becoming more beautiful than you could imagine. My beloved child, you are standing at the threshold of something new. What you thought was ending is actually beginning, and the next steps you take will reveal the purpose behind every closure you endured. Trust the unfolding. The new chapter is already opening. My beloved child, now that you understand that what you thought was ending is truly the beginning of something sacred, I want to reveal to you the significance of what lies ahead. You are not stepping into an ordinary season. You are not merely transitioning. You are walking toward a promise, one that has been forming quietly, faithfully, consistently over the course of your life. This promise is not random. It is not accidental. It is not the result of chance or coincidence. It is intentional. It is rooted in who you are, shaped by what you have endured, and aligned with everything your heart has longed for. Even in moments when you felt far from purpose, this promise was drawing near. Even in seasons when you felt unworthy or uncertain, the promise remained steady. Even on days when you questioned your path entirely, the promise did not waver. My child, the promise you are about to walk into is the fulfillment of seeds planted long ago, some planted by your own prayers, some planted by your tears, some planted by the hopes you whispered quietly when no one else was listening. These seeds have been growing beneath the surface, nourished by your endurance, watered by your resilience, protected by my hand. You are stepping into a promise of restoration. Where you once lost, you will gain. Where you once felt broken, you will be made whole. Where you once walked in uncertainty, you will walk in clarity. The promise ahead of you carries healing in places you assumed would hurt forever. There are wounds within you that you thought time would never soothe. But I am bringing you into a season where pain loses its power and peace takes its place. A season where what once haunted you will no longer define you. Healing is part of the promise. You are stepping into a promise of alignment. The people you meet will match the person you are becoming. The opportunities ahead will reflect your growth. Your steps will be guided without confusion or contradiction. You will not have to force the right things. It will meet you naturally because this time, everything is aligned. Your spirit, your direction, your identity, your purpose. This alignment is part of the promise. You are stepping into a promise of provision. Not just financial provision, but emotional, spiritual, relational, and mental abundance. You will have what you need when you need it. You will no longer live in constant worry or fear about how things will come together. I am providing ahead of you. I am opening the way in front of you. I am preparing supply for every step you take. Provision is part of the promise. You are stepping into a promise of purpose. The assignments meant for you will become clearer. Your calling will speak louder. Your gifts will find their place. Where you once felt aimless, you will feel guided. Where you once felt out of place, you will feel anchored. Where you once questioned your value, you will understand why your voice, your presence, your heart were always needed. Purpose is part of the promise. And listen closely now, for this is deeply important. The promise you are stepping into is not fragile. Nothing can delay it. Nothing can steal it. Nothing can destroy it. No person, no situation, no past mistake has the power to cancel what I have prepared for you. You have walked through too much growth, too much breaking, too much refining for this promise to slip away. You are not entering this season unprepared. You are entering strengthened, purified, awakened, aligned. My child, the next part of your journey will require trust, but not the kind of trust that strains you. This will be a trust built on recognition. You will begin to recognize my hand in ways you never have before. You will see signs that guide you. You will sense me drawing you forward. You will feel peace confirming your steps. You will know without question that you are walking into what was always meant for you. And soon, very soon, you will look around at your life and realize that the things you once prayed for have become your reality. The things you once feared you'd never experience will arrive with ease. The heaviness you carried will fade. The uncertainty that clouded your vision will clear. You will breathe differently, walk differently, think differently, live differently, because you will be living in the promise. This is not wishful thinking. This is not imagination. This is not temporary comfort. This is the truth of what I have been preparing you for. Your promise is not ahead of you by miles. It is nearer than your fear, closer than your doubt, deeper than your hesitation. You are stepping into it with every moment you choose healing, every moment you choose growth, every moment you choose trust, every moment you choose me. My beloved child, prepare your heart. You are about to walk into the promise that has been waiting for you all along. My beloved child, as you prepare to step into the promise I have been shaping for you, I want to reveal something even deeper, something sacred, something transformative, something your spirit has been longing to understand for longer than you realize. You are not simply walking into a new season. You are not simply receiving new blessings. You are not simply entering new alignment. Something far greater is unfolding within you. You are about to become who you were always meant to be. You have glimpsed this version of yourself in moments, brief flashes of confidence, clarity, strength, and purpose. You have felt it rising within you, like a whisper you couldn't quite interpret. You sensed there was more inside you, more to your identity, more to your calling, more to your existence. You sensed a deeper self waiting beneath the layers of fear, doubt, pain, and limitation. But becoming this version of yourself required a journey through healing, a journey through surrender, a journey through releasing what was never yours, a journey through understanding yourself on a deeper level, a journey through the valleys that shaped your faith and the mountains that stretched your courage. You had to unlearn what the world told you. You had to outgrow what life tried to shrink you into. You had to shed the labels others placed on you. You had to break cycles that were passed down to you. You had to survive storms meant to crush you. And yet, here you are, on the verge of becoming the person I saw when I first breathed life into you. The version of you that is emerging is no longer defined by fear. You will still feel fear, but it will not control you. Fear may whisper, but you will no longer listen to it as truth. Fear may rise, but you will rise higher. You will walk with a confidence rooted not in pride, but in identity. This emerging version of you is no longer bound by doubt. The doubt that once paralyzed you will become powerless. The doubt that made you question yourself will fade as you see what I place in your hands. You will finally understand that the doubt was never your voice. It was the echo of old wounds. This emerging version of you trusts your own intuition, because you recognize it as my guidance speaking through your spirit. You will feel my leading more clearly than ever before. You will trust it. You will follow it. You will no longer talk yourself out of what your heart knows is true. This emerging version of you shows compassion, not only to others, but to yourself. You will stop being harsh with your own soul. You will stop punishing yourself for mistakes you've already grown from. You will stop carrying burdens that were never yours. This emerging version of you stands tall, not because life finally became easy, but because you finally realized I never expected you to face anything alone. My child, you cannot become who you were meant to be without releasing who you used to be. You cannot step into the fullness of your identity while holding on to the broken version of yourself that life sculpted out of pain. That is why you've been shifting. That is why you've been shedding. That is why certain things have fallen away. The becoming requires space. You may not feel ready. You may not feel qualified. You may not feel strong enough. But you do not need to feel ready to be ready. You do not need to feel worthy to be chosen. You do not need to feel adequate to be appointed. You only need to continue walking forward with me. The version of you I am bringing forth is grounded, balanced, aware. A version who is not intimidated by uncertainty. A version who no longer bends under pressure. A version who honors their worth, protects their peace, and listens to their soul. The person you are becoming is someone who will no longer run from purpose, who will no longer silence their own voice, who will no longer settle for what does not align, who will no longer shrink to make others comfortable. You have fought through too much to remain who you were. You have healed too deeply to return to what hurt you. You have grown too far to fit back into the life you have outgrown. You are not becoming someone new. You are becoming someone true, the true version of yourself that has been buried beneath wounds, expectations, fear, and survival. And soon, very soon, you will look in the mirror and not only see the physical reflection staring back at you. You will see the strength, the wisdom, the courage, the transformation, the becoming. You will say to yourself, I know who I am now. My precious child, I am proud of who you have become, who you are becoming, and who you were created to be. Keep walking with me. The truest version of you is emerging, and nothing can stop what I have begun in your life. My beloved child, now that you understand you are becoming the truest version of who you were always meant to be, I want to place a powerful truth deep within your spirit, a truth that will bring healing to the places that still ache, and peace to the memories that still haunt you. Listen closely, for this is a revelation your heart has long needed to hear. Nothing in your life has been wasted. Not the pain, not the waiting, not the heartbreak, not the confusion, not the mistakes you regret, not the chapters you wish had unfolded differently, not the seasons you thought ruined your life. Every moment, every tear, every disappointment, every unexpected turn has played a role in shaping you. Nothing has been without purpose. Nothing has been without meaning. Nothing has been without its contribution to the person you are becoming. You have looked back at parts of your story with frustration, with shame, with sorrow, or with longing. You have asked, why did I have to go through that? Why did it happen this way? What was the point of all this pain? Sometimes you blamed yourself. Sometimes you blamed life. Sometimes you blamed me. But my child, every piece of your journey has carried a purpose much deeper than you realized. The heartbreak you endured was not wasted. It taught you what love is and what it is not. It refined your heart, strengthened your discernment, and expanded your capacity for compassion. The rejection you faced was not wasted. It redirected you away from places and people who could not see your worth. It taught you to recognize the environments that were too small for your growth. The mistakes you made were not wasted. They humbled you. They taught you wisdom. They shaped your character. They revealed the areas where healing was needed. The seasons you waited endlessly were not wasted. They strengthened your patience. They deepened your faith. It prepared your spirit for the blessings that require maturity to sustain. Even the times you felt lost were not wasted. Those were the moments when you discovered parts of yourself you had forgotten, your resilience, your depth, your ability to rise. You see, my precious one, nothing in your life has been random. Even the experiences that felt like detours were actually leading you to alignment. Even the pain you wanted to run from was preparing you for the purpose you are stepping into. Even the people who walked away were clearing space for those who would honor you. Even the doors that closed were positioning you for doors that opened in the right direction. Nothing hath been wasted. Think of your life as a tapestry. Up close you see threads that seem out of place. Threads of sorrow, failure, disappointment, confusion. But from my perspective, every thread is woven with intention. Every color has meaning. Every contrast adds definition. Every twist in the design contributes to the beauty, the depth, the story I am crafting through you. Even your broken pieces have been used to build something whole. You have survived things you thought would destroy you. You have risen from situations you thought would leave you shattered. You have healed from wounds you thought would last forever. And now, as you look back, you will begin to see how every moment, especially the painful ones, created the strength, the clarity, the wisdom, and the compassion that now live within you. If you had not walked through what you walked through, you would not be ready for what is ahead. If you had not learned what you learned, you would not recognize the blessings coming your way. If you had not experienced loss, you would not appreciate alignment. If you had not endured heartbreak, you would not recognize healthy love. If you had not battled doubt, you would not value truth. Nothing has been wasted. Not even the seasons you felt far from me. You thought I was absent, but I was working behind the scenes, protecting, shaping, guiding, strengthening. Even your silence was part of your becoming. Not even the times you felt broken, because it was in that brokenness that light entered you. It was in that brokenness that truth reached you. It was in that brokenness that you began to rebuild differently. My beloved child, I want you to hear this with absolute certainty. You are not a collection of mistakes. You are not defined by the worst things that happened to you. You are not marked by failure. You are not shaped by accident. You are a work of divine intention. Everything you have lived through has contributed to the strength you carry today. Everything you have endured has shaped your capacity to love, to lead, to heal, to grow. And as you move forward, I want you to stop seeing your past as wasted years. They were not wasted. They were foundational. They were necessary. They were sacred. Nothing has been wasted, my child. Everything had been woven into purpose. And the beauty of that purpose is just beginning to unfold. My beloved child, now that you understand nothing in your life has been wasted, I want to take you into a truth that will bring wholeness to everything you have walked through. This truth is not distant. It is not abstract. It is not something reserved for a distant future. It is close, closer than you realize. And once it settles in your spirit, you will begin to see your entire life with new eyes. What you are about to receive will make sense of everything. You have carried questions for years. Questions that kept you awake at night. Questions that made you question your worth. Questions you buried because the answers never came. You wondered why certain people entered your life only to leave. You wondered why some chapters were short and others stretched unbearably long. You wondered why you had to endure heartbreak after heartbreak, lesson after lesson, loss after loss. You wondered why your path looked different from everyone else's. You wondered why the things you prayed for were delayed, rearranged, or transformed into something else entirely. You wondered if the confusion meant something was wrong with you. You wondered if the silence meant something was wrong with me. You wondered if the delays meant your destiny had been denied. But hear me now, nothing was wrong. Nothing was off track. Nothing was a mistake. Everything was alignment, even when it didn't feel like it. Everything was preparation, even when it looked like delay. Everything was movement, even when you saw stillness. And soon, very soon, what is coming into your life will illuminate the purpose behind every unanswered question. You are about to walk into a season where clarity replaces confusion, where understanding replaces guessing, where peace replaces anxiety, where gratitude replaces regret. You will look back on the moments that once broke you and say, "Now I understand." You will reflect on the relationships that ended and say, "Now I see why they had to." You will revisit the dreams you had to surrender and say, "Now I know what was being prepared instead." You will trace the path you walked and say, "Now it all makes sense." The blessings you are about to receive aren't just gifts, they are explanations. They will explain the delay. They will explain the heartbreak. They will explain the redirection. They will explain the silence. The blessing itself will be the answer you've been waiting for. There will come a moment when you realize the pain you endured forged the strength you now walk in. There will come a moment when you see how every closed door protected you from harm. There will come a moment when you see how every loss created space for something far greater. There will come a moment when you understand why you couldn't settle for less than what is coming. These moments are not far away. They are drawing near. And when they arrive, everything will click into place. Not partially, not vaguely, fully. My precious child, I want you to prepare your heart, not with fear, but with expectation. You are about to receive answers that go deeper than explanation. Answers that bring healing. Answers that bring peace. Answers that bring affirmation to who you are and who you are becoming. Answers that will close old wounds and open new visions. Because what you are about to receive is not small. It is not ordinary. It is not another fleeting moment of hope. It is the fulfillment of promises you forgot you prayed for. It is the manifestation of growth you didn't even realize you were undergoing. It is the culmination of every tear, every lesson, every quiet moment of courage. It is the blessing that your entire journey has been leading you toward. And understand this. The reason it took time is because it needed time. You needed to grow into the person who could hold this blessing. You needed to release what could not accompany you into this next chapter. You needed to discover your strength, your worth, your identity. This blessing is not arriving to a version of you that is broken. It is arriving to a version of you that is finally ready. What you are about to receive will not confuse you. It will confirm you. It will confirm that you were never forgotten. It will confirm that your story was never off track. It will confirm that every detour was divine. It will confirm that you have been guided every step of the way. And when this blessing unfolds, when it enters your life undeniably, unmistakably, beautifully, you will feel something you haven't felt in a long time, a sense of completion, a sense of exhale, a sense of resolution. You will say, with full understanding, "This is why. This is what everything was preparing me for." My beloved child, hold steady. Your life is on the edge of clarity, fulfillment, and divine revelation. What you are about to receive will make sense of everything. My beloved child, now we have journeyed together through revelation after revelation, through healing, through clarity, through transformation. You have walked with me from the depths of your uncertainty to the edge of your becoming. You have opened your heart. You have listened closely. You have allowed my voice to settle into places where wounds once lived. And now, before everything in your life begins to shift into the new season I have prepared for you, there is one final truth you must carry with you. Before everything changes, know this. You are not walking into your future alone. You may feel the shift. You may sense the stirring. You may see pieces moving, relationships changing, doors opening or closing, opportunities forming. And as all of this unfolds, a part of you might feel nervous. A part of you might feel the weight of stepping into the unknown. A part of you might wonder if you are ready, if you are strong enough, if you are capable enough. So let me place this truth deeply into your spirit. You are not entering the next chapter by yourself. You are not relying on your own strength. You are not navigating this new season with uncertainty as your guide. I am walking ahead of you. I am clearing the path before your feet touch it. I am guarding the spaces you cannot yet see. I am preparing divine connections, divine opportunities, divine timing. You are held. You are guided. You are covered. You are protected. Before everything changes, you must also know this. You are worthy of the life I am leading you into. You have questioned your worth too long. You have doubted your value too deeply. You have carried shame that was never yours and guilt that was never meant to stay with you. But the future you are stepping into, this promise, this alignment, this healing, this breakthrough, requires you to see yourself the way I see you. I see you as chosen. I see you as loved. I see you as capable. I see you as worthy. I see you as enough. You are not arriving at this moment by accident. You are arriving because you have grown, because you have been faithful, because you have endured, because you have been refined. You are arriving because this season is yours, not borrowed, not temporary, not fragile, but yours. Before everything changes, know this: the past no longer has authority over your future. The wounds that once dictated your choices are losing their power. The memories that once held you captive are releasing their grip. The fear that once silenced you is dissolving. The patterns that once defined you are breaking. You are not who you were. You are not limited by what happened to you. You are not confined by your mistakes. You are not chained to old versions of yourself. You are free, free to rise, free to expand, free to live, free to love, free to become. Before everything changes, know this: your life is about to reflect the healing you've done, the faith you've held, and the strength you've built. The shifts coming into your life are not meant to overwhelm you. They are meant to confirm you. They will show you that you were not waiting for nothing. They will show you that you were not fighting for nothing. They will show you that you were not enduring for nothing. Everything you've prayed for, everything you've hoped for, everything you've longed for is not for. It is not unreachable. It is not delayed. It is unfolding. It is for me. It is preparing to enter your life in ways that will leave you speechless, humbled, grounded in gratitude. And before everything changes, my child, you must know one more thing. I have never left you. Not once. Not in your tears. Not in your fear. Not in your doubts. Not in your silence. Not in your confusion. Not in your longing. I have been here, steady, patient, loving, guiding, shaping, strengthening you for such a time as this. And I will remain with you in the next chapter, and the one after that, and every chapter still to come. You are ready. More ready than you realize. More prepared than you feel. More capable than you know. So step forward, my beloved child. Step with faith. Step with courage. Step with expectation. Step knowing that you are walking into a future that was crafted with intention, love, and divine purpose. Everything is about to change, but you will not be lost in the change. You will be found. You will be fulfilled. You will be renewed. You will be aligned. And you will finally see with your own eyes the goodness I have been preparing for you all along. This is your moment. This is your becoming. This is your new beginning. Walk forward, my precious one. Your story is just beginning. Amen. My beloved child, you have walked with me to the end of this word, and now I speak to you plainly. This message is a river flowing into lives that are desperate for my voice, and I have chosen you to help widen its banks. I declare over you, whoever sows to the Spirit will reap eternal life, for this is me confirming your moment of action. I am inviting you, right now, to seal this journey with obedience. Your support through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal in the description and QR code ensures this word reaches souls I am already calling. I bless your giving as a prophetic act, and I decree that nothing you release will return empty. Do it now, sow into this mission and walk forward with me.